Hello. Let me wait until people begin to show up. Meanwhile, I'll let you guys in. Here we go. Here's Doran. And Charles. Hello. Hi, Doran. Andrew. Here we go. All right. How's it going, everyone? Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Hi, Charles.
I left my
Yeah, tell me.
I left my things on padlock or whatever it's called.
You left what?
I put my work on the paddock or padlet.
Oh, and the Padlet. You did the Padlet. Okay, got it. Thank you. I'll go check it now. You guys go ahead. Oh, let me move this over the way. Go ahead and change your name to your last name. Charles, do you know how to do that? Or do you want me to add your name? So it just says Charles. If you hover over the little window that shows your name, you can hover over it. And when you say three little dots, you can click on those three dots and then rename yourself to add your last name. Do you see where to do that? I'm talking to Charles, by the way. I'm not sure because your sound is off. So if you're answering me, I can't hear you. In case you are answering me. Charles, can you hear me?
Live. I'm live.
Something's happening to your sound. All right, don't know. Are you trying to speak? All right, so I don't know. You were just talking to me, so I'm not sure what's happening there, but okay. Whenever you can speak to me again.
Hey,
All right. Okay, so, oh, I was told the wrong person to unmute. There we go. All right. Hi, everyone. How are you hanging with the heat? Not
Can
as
you
hot
hear me
today.
now?
Yes, I
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you now, Charles. Yes, I can
Okay.
hear you. All right. So I was saying, can you add your last name? Otherwise, I can do it. I'll
Can
do
you
it.
do it? Can
Sure.
you do it, please?
Can you remind me your last name?
Mattis, M-A-T-A-S.
There we go.
Thank you.
Perfect. And there we go. And I'm gonna just add.
Okay.
Adding Lasco in there for Doran. Okay. Hi, Tanya. Nice to see you. All right. So I see that Doran gave me a good afternoon on the meeting chat. Can you all give me some kind of sign of life?
I quit on my not this one. This one's a tough one. I'll go on the other machine.
Well, yeah, do whatever you need to do. I just wrote in the chat something. I just said, welcome to Excel 2. I don't know why.
Okay.
Welcome. That there where you saw that happen, that's the chat. So go to that one. All right. Okay, guys. So for better and for worse, today is our last Excel 2. This set of classes is like really short, right? It's really one class that goes all the time with 9 classes total, but for some reason we need to reassemble and reset each time. So for Excel 3, which starts next, it starts on Thursday, this Thursday, the CRN, if you want to sign up for it, if you're not signed up, is, I just put it in there, 81209. I believe right now there's not that many people signed up, but maybe it's the people who are coming. So I should check. Let me see. Because as long as it's the people who are coming, that's good. Well, there's 12 people. That's more than who are coming. So as long as you all are coming, I can check on the roster. If you don't know if you're signed up, I can check on the roster to see who's there. Okay. Anyway. Let me just do that. I should have thought of having the roster ready to go. It didn't occur to me. So here there we go, Charlie, you're coming in with your new computer. And that'll be better. All right, so let me share this screen. If you guys are in this roster here, let me make the names bigger. If you guys are here, then you are in the class. Let me see, Doran, Andrew, Charles.
Recording in progress.
No.
Ouch. Charles, you need to
I'm
take the
trying.
sound off.
Okay.
So you need to go to the, oh, looks like it might be done. It's not just turning it off. You need to leave sound on one. Try speaking because you might be done. Go ahead and speak. Charles, can you say something? Because I think it's not, we don't have the problem anymore, but I need you to say something to make sure. Well, if you're saying something, I can't hear you.
He
You're
sent it in
muted,
chat.
dude.
Hi.
What's that?
He sent it in chat.
Oh,
Said hello in chat.
yes, you are here. Okay. But you should be able to, oh, is this, oh, you disconnected from the other one. No, you have one without sound and one that's off. So the original computer, you can unmute yourself there. Go ahead and say something.
Here.
There you go.
Okay.
So you're fine. Good. So now you have sound on one and the other one's disconnected and now you don't make sound. Perfect. That's the
Yep.
setup. All right, good.
I shut it off now.
What's that?
Gonna try to shut the other one off.
Yeah, so the only person I see here no, it's perfect the way I have it right now. Tanya, I don't see you in, and you've been coming to all the Excel classes, but I don't see you in the Excel 3. Okay, so do you hear me? Tanya, you were there a second ago, you're not there now. But anyway, you're not in Excel
Uh-oh.
3. Okay, the rest of you guys, I see you. Yeah. And Caroline, who's been coming, and Salvador, who's been coming, everyone's there. So it's just Tanya. All right. But since you're probably not hearing this, I'll do it. I'll talk to you later about it when you come back. Oh, there you are, Tanya. Did you hear me? You are not signed up to Excel 3, which is Thursday. We begin with Excel 3. So here's the information since you
I heard
haven't
it.
taken all the classes. Got it.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, so I'm gonna quit that and we'll go back to showing, I had moved things over to showing you. Why is it? Oh, I know. Nothing. I keep forgetting because I teach usually on this account, I just teach the Mac. So I'm gonna share my screen. And I'm going to show you guys the Padlet. Here we go. So this is the work that you guys were doing and that you posted. So thank you. Okay. So over here, let's go back. So this was the last thing I posted when I was showing you examples of what we did. Right. And then Caroline posted her work and Charlie, you did a bunch of work using the recordings, and then Karen, you did your work. But everyone else, guys, where are your posts? Okay, Charlie, you were here. Andrew, you were here in class, and Doran and Caroline and Sal were in class last week. So if you hear this recording, guys, you need to post. Okay, this is the last class. So today, after class is over, I have to go over and give you guys a pass, no pass. And big part of that is having your work up on here on the Padlet. Now, if I've been seeing you do the work, you've been sharing your screen, that's fine. But many of you haven't had to share your screen. So I don't know if you're doing the work. You're sitting there watching, but I can't know if you're doing the work unless you give me some screenshots or share your screen. Okay. For me to know if it's happening. And again, it's not like you need to get it all correct or anything like that. You can get, in fact, equivalent of a C to pass would be about half of it, right? So I'm not saying that you need a good examples here. just examples that you're trying, you're doing your work, and that you might have questions. So I don't see any questions here. I just see it posted. But if you have any questions, this is a good time to ask your questions too. Anyway, thank you, you guys, for posting. And I see that you put some numbers here. And was that you were going to, one of the homeworks was to make a chart based on some data, and in particular, Karen works with like big data. And so one of the requests was to see if she could find some way to use the flash fill. I have no idea if you did or didn't do that. That would be fun to hear. But anyway, so here she's done some charts with, Bay Area, Central Coast. So these are numbers. We don't know what, because it doesn't say what it is. It just says EPIC, but it could be income, it could be gains, it could be losses. I have no idea. It's okay though. This is private data, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
But
it's,
yeah, were you saying something? I'm
It's
sorry.
revenue.
Okay.
It's revenue. I was comparing. I
Okay.
monitor the revenue throughout the month. So we actually, this was a couple days before month end, so we
Mhm.
did surpass the numbers in most of the categories for this year, but as of this one, we were still under.
All right.
a little bit.
So here's July 2022 is in blue, and July 2023 is in orange. Okay. And so comparing how the Bay Area seems to be lower, the Central Coast in 2023 now is higher, and the Central Valley is higher, and Sacramento is higher. So that's the comparison she's making here. I'm not sure that I like the data this way. It's hard to read when it gets over the blue.
Yeah, I couldn't get it.
What's that? You couldn't what?
I couldn't fit it. I needed to do something different.
Yeah, so when we were talking about redesigning the charts to fit your data, and I don't think this is the best chart for this data. If you want to put the numbers, if you just want to have a general comparison, then you don't put this data, and you can see that this is around the 4.5 million. This is around, you can get an idea. This is around 4 million, that this is around 2 million, something like that. That's good enough. But if you want exact data, this doesn't let me read the data. So then maybe in this case, that table that we had drawn at some point down there, so that I can see exactly, oh, how much is this? It's around 4. Let me see. Oh, it's actually 37.58, right? So I could read it, because there's no way I know that this is 4 million something and this is 2 million something, but I don't know what, right? So if it did matter, that would be something to do. So, and you can't really put like white text like I did before, because white text would look good over here, but not over here, right? Where it extends. Plus this number is so long, it extends, and does it really belong to that, or leave it on? So basically this isn't the right format for the numbers. So you need to play around and see if you can find another better solution for that kind of information, or not put it and put it in a table below. Which did I screenshot one of the, like this one, like that, so that the actual data that needs to be read can be down there, and then this just gives me the trend, right? Anyway, I remember then here we have pie charts, right, where it's just comparing the areas in July and then the areas in June. So it isn't anymore the year compared to each other, rather each area how they're doing. Okay, so it would seem that in July the Bay Area had a much bigger chunk of the income, and in this year it would seem that it's much more balanced, although these two are bigger and these are smaller. So these are just big quick glances, right? So that's great. Thank you. And then here you have some, I'm not sure what you are. Oh, here's the
That's just
table that
mine.
you've been using. Okay, that's the table you've been using, and then you have all of it together. Okay, great. Cool. So then you have, Charlie, you sent me a PDF of modifying your chart to make it like all cool 3D and black. And here we actually have like a little dip, kind of a transparency in these, which it's very cool. By the way, I'm not saying it's not cool, but this becomes, and this is just a criticism I have of Excel or PowerPoint or things like that, that it makes it so easy to make these really cool drawings, but we forget that the information here might be harder for me to read. So is this another color? Is it like, if I really pay attention over here, I could kind of tell it was just the thing in 3D, like the slices are transparent. But as data, it becomes really confusing here when it gets small, right? So in fact, it was easier to read this one that's just straight on, right? It's still cute and whatever, but I don't have all of the transparencies confusing me, right? So anyway, consider that when something is too fancy, it just loses the power because I can see this is big, small, big. And then when I get here, I'm like all confused and I stop paying attention, right? To the, or if you're talking to me about how much money Dallas made and we should da 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 da. Well, I'm listening to you and through one ear and the other, I'm trying to figure out what's happening here. And I'm not really focusing on what you're saying, right? So either way, like consider to make it would seem that the simplest basic chart is almost too simple and too basic, but sometimes it is the best one to convey the information, right? Anyway, great. Thanks for putting that information up there, you guys. I see also your formulas, Charlie. So thank you for all that work. Guys, I need posts from you guys. All you need to do is open the files that you've been working on and post them, right? That's all you need to do. If you haven't been doing them and you haven't been posting me, then that's kind of tells me something I should know, which is basically that that you guys need to do the work. Yes, your hands up, Andrew.
Yeah, hey, I was wondering if you were going to do like a rapid fire recap of last class. Like, oh yeah, if I wanted to like, how did I do that? How did I make those coins in that little pie slice? That I wrote series 1 options, so I mean,
yeah,
got a pretty good idea.
probably not, because we spent a lot of time with charts last week and you have the whole recording. So
Okay.
a lot of
that's
other
right.
things, you know, I
That's
have a
right.
lot of other things to do and you have the recording. So
Right. Right.
you know, you can go and refresh that. If we didn't have the recording, even then, sometimes I do quick recaps, but we spent a whole bunch of time on charts a little bit beyond what what we actually had to. Hold
Okay.
on. Big
Press on.
problem.
What'd you do with the bottom data? You know, we had the top
Oh.
data. How about the bottom data, average, the
Hold on.
count?
I'm in trouble. The multi-factor to let me into VDI is sending me a code to my phone and my son has the phone and he's not in my house. Maybe they can email it to me. I'm sorry, I need to focus on this.
You want one of us to text him?
I can text him from this phone, which is the one I teach with, but he won't recognize it. This is the phone I use to teach with, so it's not connected to my stuff and it's a weird account, but maybe let me try because it's just as weird as you guys texting him, right? Meaning it's that he doesn't know who's texting either way. Give me a second here, you guys. Because otherwise I can't, I'll just have to show you everything on the Mac. I use VDI to show you the PC version. It's not like I can't teach, I'll just teach you on the Mac, but I'd like to be able to,
Oh,
uh,
I'd rather do something like this.
oh, I can use, oh no, I can't. I have to
Katie's
disconnect.
doing a workshop and she's talking about active listen.
Who's talking? Hi, Sal, nice to see you.
Hi, teacher. Hello.
So I don't know how much attention they'll pay to me because they're at the movies. And they're probably not looking at their phone. They're watching Barbie. Can you please send me the code that appears on
No, I'm leaving.
my
you.
phone?
Here we go.
Let me say urgent.
After watching Barbie, they're gonna want a pink car now.
Yeah. All right, so I don't know if they'll pay attention. So meanwhile, until I see whether they're responding, I'll have to, oh, wow, what's one of those problems with the whole, the two-factor authentication? It's great on the one hand, but it's also complicated because you can't get in if you don't have your phone. It didn't occur to me when he asked to borrow the phone. Anyway, all right, never mind. For now, we're left with doing it all on. I'm gonna just minimize Firefox and we're gonna just do it on Excel. Okay, So everyone, let's open up a file. Let's open up Excel page layout print practice. So Excel _ page layout print practice. And let me know if you don't have it or can't find it or one of those things. And let me share my screen.
Teacher,
Oh, yes,
it looks that this file is at the folder download web December 8th.
is
The-
it?
I think so. Excel page layout print practice.
Let me see. Class exercises. Let me share my screen. So I'm actually sharing this. This is the file I should be opening, but now I'm going to check what you're saying. So if these are the class files, you're saying that they're not here, that they're
Inside
Excel
the
3?
folder.
so in the class exercises, right here
Yes,
under download.
yes.
There it is. You're right. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. So when you guys downloaded the files, there was a bunch of files that you downloaded, and then there was a folder called Download Wednesday, December 8th, which I'll now change the name, but since you got that file, I'm gonna have to, and when you go into that one, there it is, Excel page layout. Okay. So let me know if you do or not have it. Okay. And all right, so I'm just gonna move that one out of there, and that one's there. All right. So here's the file. So once you have this file open, if you find it, please give me a yes. If you don't find it, let me know. I sent you all, not only did everyone supposedly download everything at first, but then a few days ago, I went ahead and just emailed everyone who was in class the files again. So Charlie, do you find it? And Doran, do you find it? And oh, Tanya, that's true. She couldn't stay, or she was just popping out. She's not here now. So I think she didn't, maybe she told me she had to leave. I don't know. Charlie, did you find it? I can't hear you. If you're speaking to me, your sound is off, so you need to unmute yourself. Okay. Doran, do you have the file? I'm more than happy to just email you guys the file again, which is kind of ridiculous, but I've been doing it all this time. I'll do it again.
Yeah,
If
I
you
have
need
that
it.
file, play, print. Yeah, I have that.
Okay. All right. And Doran, I think you have all the files, but let me know if you don't. Okay. Oh, I see a no. You're saying no, you don't have the file. Okay, let me really quickly go and send you the some files that we're going to be using today. Hold on, I've got the Zoom stuff in the way and I can't see. Okay, here we go. Let me sign in a second. I'm in there. I have the Zoom stuff up there. Okay, and email. So Doran. I'm looking at which others we're going to use today. Oh my God, why isn't it? Okay. So I'm sending you a bunch of files that we might end up working with. today, and then next class, when we start again, you'll just have to download everything again, all the new stuff, okay? All right. All right, back to Excel. I'm not getting text, so I'm not sure. They're in Barbie land. They're not looking at their phone. If there were anything else, what doesn't, not when you're watching a movie. So, all right. So be it. All right, so now this is the file, and Dorn, if you don't have it, please go check your email, because I just sent you an email with the files. And so here we have a ton of data up and down. I mean, there's not even that much. It could be much more, but it's a lot more data than we have been working with up until now, right? And over here in the bottom, you can see that there's like similar data if you want for many different parts of the country and the world, right? So this is probably sales. I don't know, it's a sample file, but I'm assuming it's sales, right? For all these people, or maybe it's these are clients and this is what they purchased. I don't know, it does not matter. Right now, what we're going to be doing is a couple of different things that have to do with how to handle files that have a lot of data. In fact, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see this better. But as I do that, then I see less and less of my data, right? So over here, I can see A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And then if I want to keep seeing stuff, I have to start scrolling sideways, which I'm doing because I have a magic mouse that scrolls sideways, or a pad that scrolls sideways. If you have a regular PC mouse, then over here you would see a scroll bar that you can use to go sideways until I get to the final column. Now, something I didn't mention, usually I mention this the first day of Excel, and I don't think I spoke this time about it, is that there's a lot more columns available. Even if I haven't used more, you can keep going over to the side. And why am I not? Why is my, I'm going to make this small, and whoops, went one too small. There we go. And as you can see, there's way many more columns than just the column that I'm using. And it keeps on and on and on. And the same with, of course, millions of rows down there. And there's a number. And if I Google it, every time I forget what the number is. But how do they, it's, numbers just continue. But how do they handle it with columns? Well, once they get to the Z, right, then the columns start getting called AA. Oh, let me go down. Sorry, it's jumping. AA, AB, AC, AD, and so on and so forth, right? And then as we keep moving over to the right, it would, when we finish with the AZ, it would be BB, BA, BB, BB, and so on. So you can have a ton of columns. Now I'm going to zoom in again a little bit, because my point is to show you when you have that much data, you can't work from so far out to see it all. So how do you move back and forth, right? And how do you handle being able to still be able to see this? Well, so say that I'm looking at the first person, Kieran Sosa. In January, this was what they either spent or made. I don't know. And then I go over here and I'm like, oh, in December. Oh, wait, who was this? Oh, shoot, I forgot. Let me go back. Oh, that was Sosa Kieran. 78. What? You have to keep going back and forth because you can't see. And, at most right now, all we have is, in fact, L columns, but you might have many more, or many, many more rows. If for some reason you want to see, you want to go up from, what's the last person? Let me see, Carpenter Blake, on what month did he spend or make 3,600? Oh God, I don't know. Let me see, January, February, March, April, May. I have to guess, right? Because I can't see the column titles anymore, nor could I see the names when I went to the right. Does that make sense? So there's a couple different things. There's so many different things we can do to make this work. I'm going to show you a few of them. And the simplest one of them all, yes, Andrew?
Yeah, my first person is Alexander Gomez. Am I on the wrong file?
Oh, I think I was in international. I left it there when I was showing you. You're right, central. There we go. Let me go back. I
Is-
was showing
is,
you
uh,
that there were others, and then my last one was international. So let me go back to central, which is what you have, and there's
Oh,
Alexander Gomez. Thanks for
okay.
pointing that out. I stopped at international and I was showing you, it's the same data everywhere as far as, it's the same type of data, but it is different people, right? So, okay,
Okay.
there we go. Central, I have Alexander Gomez. There we go. So, once again, what if we want to see Alexander's totals? Boom, 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 boom. Now I might have forgotten who Alexander is, or who made 72. I don't know. Right. And I have to go back and hopefully it's one of these, but by then I lost track. Now, one solution might just be click on the row for Mufutao. And then, yeah, when you go back and forth, you can clearly see now that this is Mufutao, right? Or if you're trying to, you know, if you know that you're checking out April, then if you go down here, you can see, oh, Courtney McIntosh, because I just know she was working in April, but in fact, that's, you know, not even what's happening here is that we need to be able to find a better way to sort, to view my stuff. This isn't even about sorting, it's just to view it, all the data at the same time. So there's a couple different things we can do. I'm going to go ahead and start by having A1 selected, since that's the default cell that when you open a file, it's the one that's selected. And we're going to head over to view. So up in the tabs here, we're going to choose view. And under view, there's some choices here that are going to help us see things easier. And the first thing I can do is I can say, well, I want to freeze the first column, column A, right? So I'm going to click on freeze column A. So just click on it one time. There's no indication that it's been clicked. All you know that it's been clicked. And then over here, it's like a bit of a different line. It's very, very hard to see that anything has happened, other than that if I now start going sideways, see, this column has been frozen. So now I can go over here and I can go, oh, Cheyenne, September, or Marcia Evans, November. See what I mean? Or let's see these totals. I can compare these totals and go, oh, it looks like Buckminster made 70,000 and Aaron Fleming did 68. So that's because I have frozen this top set of information. If it's
Where'd you do that? Freeze?
Okay. So I clicked on freeze first column. So we were in home as the
Oh.
basic play. So I went all the way to view. And then I don't know if this is small, right?
Okay.
Then
it.
you can't see things well, then you have to click on this that says window. But if it's bigger, then you should see these three choices here. And I'm showing you the first one, which is freeze first column, right? Now, if we want to unfreeze it, we can just head over here to unfreeze panes, and now it's unfrozen and I'm back to everything disappearing, right? So let's unfreeze it, which it only says unfreeze if something's frozen, right? So when we did freeze column, this one now says unfreeze panes. So click on that to unfreeze them. Now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to freeze the top row. Boom, freeze top row. And now I'm able to go up here and see that, yes, Peter Sharp did make $2,000 in March, right? So it's kind of works well. Now I only have that, but at least I can see that these are the data. This is the data for December, and this is the data for June, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to unfreeze that again. Now, the best of all worlds is if I can freeze both column and top row at the same time, right? So if I head over here and click on just freeze panes, period, not top row and column, but just freeze panes, period, right there, then, oh, I didn't have the right selection made. Hold on, I'm going to unfreeze panes. I'm going to go ahead and click over here on no, that's not. I'm drawing a blank. I do this all the time.
Okay.
I
Um,
think you have to highlight the top and the A and 1 rows, like control and get them both, don't you? That's what I did. Control and
this one
click
will
on
freeze
one.
the row. Let me just see for a second. This one freezes the row. And this one would freeze why am I dropping? I'm having a blank. Oh my God. Cell A2.
So
This is the one I would have to do.
you
Freeze panes.
have to
Unfreeze.
highlight both of them.
Okay, I don't think so, but I'm
Oh, no,
gonna
like
go
the
with,
row 1, the whole row 1 and the whole column A.
okay,
Or
that's
control.
probably not necessarily what I would have done,
Yeah.
but let's see, because you probably are right.
No,
Nope. Everything
Yeah,
is
it's frozen.
frozen now. That's not working, the
Scroll
whole
down.
thing.
scroll down. See?
It just froze, it just did a
Somehow
big
I got it,
split. No, it did a big split in the middle now. I'm gonna unfreeze. See, it's done this thing in the middle. So let me unfreeze those
Yeah,
panes.
I always have that. I always have that
Why am
problem.
I,
I always do it.
why am I,
Suppose
let me
you-
just undo to make sure that I
You
have
should
everything
did
completely.
Click,
I'm
'cause
gonna
I just did
completely
it, I don't-
undo. Yeah, it should just be that I click on the cell A2. That's how it should be. Freeze panes. And then I should have. Wow. See, when I do it this way, it gives me these two splits here. And that's not what I need. Like, see these lines here that you're not seeing? That's a full-on freeze, so that's not. Why am I having a blank on this? You're supposed to do this one and it freezes above and be,
Well,
oh,
I'm
B,
glad you
it's
are,
B, it's
because I have
B1,
this
hold on.
problem all the time.
No, it's here, it's B2, hold on. There we go, phew. I don't know why I was drawing such a blank. Okay, because of course I'm freezing this one and nothing moves. Yes. Oh, man, my brain, okay. So this is it. I was freezing the column that I need. So you start with the first top left piece of data. So then anything above it gets frozen, and anything to the left gets frozen. I don't know why I spaced on that one. Okay, so we're gonna choose B2. All right, and then we're gonna just hit freeze panes. Now I can go up and down and see that it says January for Henry Jordan, but I can also go to the left and see that this is, basically this is December for Peter Sharp, right? And so I'm freezing both at the same time. Got it? Did this work? No idea why I drew such a blank there. Yes, Karen?
I'm stoked that you showed me that, because I always have that split thing in the screen, but. So
Yeah,
what if
that split is
your
a whole different
data-
creature.
Yeah, and what if that data, like, what if it's not, that you have data above this and it's not the first row and not the first column? Will it work if it's in the middle?
Yeah,
of a
so
page
let me
and then-
unfreeze. First of all, did this work for everyone before I continue showing you plan Bs? So this is to get top row, top column, which tends to be where we have the series titles and the data or the labels, I'm sorry, for our rows. It tends to be, row 1 and column A. So that's a quick way to do it for both. If this worked for everyone, give me a yes. If it didn't, then I'll go to plan B and C. But if this works, say yes. Andrew, is it about this, the
Yeah,
question? All right,
yeah.
so what's that?
You said, okay, you select a cell, B2, freeze,
B2,
B2,
and then click on this freeze panes.
freeze panes, and then
One
what is
time.
it?
That's it.
What is it?
Okay, now, if I scroll up, the row 1 is not disappearing. But if I scroll to the right, the column A is not disappearing. So I keep having row 1 and column A visible the whole time so that I can see the data. let me show you again what it was like before. I'm gonna unfreeze, right? And remember, when everything is unfrozen, if I want to find out how much, let's say someone who is down at the bottom, how much money they made in April, by the time I get here to these bottom names, well, actually, these are interestingly enough named, they have a name, the ranges have a name, but it's hard to see that this data has been named, and that's not good because you're seeing that, but normally you wouldn't see that. That's why it's confusing. This is already formatted, but it shouldn't. Normally this would just say ABC. When I start scrolling down over here, then when I go touch this, see how now it's switched to January, February, March.
Right, but
That
you would
is-
forget,
Yeah, that is actually, the range has been named, and that's something that I haven't taught you how to do yet. So that's actually not ideal. That said, it's very confusing because see if I hit April, is this April or is this April? So it's not even like very correct, right? So you might need to ignore this because look where March shows up and where April shows up. So is this March or is this April? And then is this May? So see how it isn't actually working with my columns. So you can ignore that. This is a pre-formatted sample file and I'd never noticed that before. So anyway, I'm gonna
okay.
ignore those.
I see the value in freeze column and freeze row. I see what you mean. But when you just select a single cell and then you hit freeze panes, I don't see what that's doing.
It's doing both. Okay, so watch. It's two at the same time. Right now, if no matter where I'm selecting, I can be selecting, whatever it may be, F20. And if I say freeze first column, it freezes the first column so that if I do this to the left, I see it. Freeze first column. I can still see that this in December, Lakota only made $257, right? So that's
Right.
really good about freezing left column. But if I also go down, then I kind of lose the power. And I guess I keep saying I lose the power because this is a bad example because it has names and I can't really
Right.
have you guys delete them. See, when I go down, this turns into words, but that's not even right. It's not the right.
I know what right. I know what you
See,
mean.
this should be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, N. And for some reason, I never noticed that the file, these series have been named up here. And so you have to assume that this isn't, and I don't remember how to take that out because it's, I don't remember how to do that. This isn't a cell name. This is, that name
Right.
that you're seeing appearing is appearing here, but not because of the name. And it's a feature that I don't remember how to do that right now. That if you do that, it appears up there. So I don't know how to do it nor undo it. It's kind of weird, but I didn't notice that this had that formatting. So for you guys, I can see how it might be confusing that if you try to go down here, I keep telling you, you don't see the months, but there they appear, right? But if I were to zoom in into a different proportion, they are appearing kind of weird because they're not in the right, like over here, it says September, but then here it says IH, and then it says K, it's just, this isn't reliable. I'm not sure how to get rid of those. So I keep feeling very awkward because I'm trying to show you how bad it is, but then these numbers
It's
suddenly
not
appear.
It's not happening on my PC. It might be a Mac thing.
Oh.
Uh,
No, I don't know
okay.
what that is.
Because when I scroll down, it doesn't happen. The ABCDs, they're all ABCDs.
Okay. So that's, I don't know what it is. It's so strange.
Diana, I am
So anyway,
realizing the
ignore that.
educational
Yeah.
benefit of this,
Mhm.
but I just don't see what's good. How do you get you click on a cell anywhere and then you hit freeze panes and that's supposed to freeze it, the column and the
Yeah, so once again, if
Yeah.
I go to B2, right, and I freeze these, right, first I'm gonna freeze everything, go here and I freeze everything. Now, stop, don't keep asking, listen again, and I'm gonna try to find a different way to explain it, right? Because I understand that you don't understand it, so I need to find a different way to explain it, right?
all
So,
right.
now it's frozen, right? So at this point, if I start scrolling up, it's as if I had frozen the first column. If I start going left, it's as if I had frozen top row. So it's basically both at once have been turned on, this one and this one. And the advantage is that no matter where in my field of data I go, the field of data is all of this stuff that's here, not the labels, but this data over here. All of this field of data, no matter where I go, I look at this number, I have no question. I can just go, oh, that belongs to Deacon and it's from October. How about this? Oh, I like here, oh, that's Arthur Romero and that's November. Like I have both of the labels that matter to me to be able to triangulate who this is, who made this money and what month. It's right there and it's right there, okay? Versus if this is unfrozen, right? By the time I'm down here, I have unfrozen it and I sit on here and I have no idea what month this is from and what person this is. Like I'm blind, right? I have no information up there. Ignore these that are so bizarre and I don't know why they're showing up. Really, because as Karen said, it's not on the PC, it's not showing up. I don't know why I'm seeing them. I've never seen that appear. Unless it's a new feature for people who don't know how to freeze. I really don't know. They don't even match. That's what's confusing to me. July appears in the middle. So anyway, so if I'm just looking at and I'm in the middle of this data and I'm trying to work with data, I have no idea. Do you see right now, Andrew, how this 7,000 doesn't belong to anything or anyone?
Yeah. I went down to like C15 and tried it, and now I'm seeing it. Now I'm seeing it.
Like if I'm sitting in the middle of the data, I don't
Otherwise,
know.
you have to memorize who line 50 belongs to.
What's that again?
I said, otherwise you have to remember who line 50 belongs to.
Yeah, you have to go, oh, I happen to know that 56 is my friend John. Yeah, no, you have no idea who 56 is. And other than what we're seeing here, we really don't know if this is December, November, or January, or what it is. So that's, I'm going to go all the way up into, so by freezing both, because if you click this one or this one, it's one or the other. The only one that freezes both is this one. See how it's blue and blue up there? And now I can go to anywhere in my data, no matter where I am. I'm going to be really far down in my data over there. And it's like, oh, so clear. This is Heidi Small, November. Like there's no question. I have my headers and I have my labels for my rows. Okay. So I know exactly who it all belongs to. Did that makes a bit more sense this time?
Yeah, I selected a cell in the middle of the chart of the data field, and I totally saw it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
froze
because
it
that's
there.
when it matters,
Yeah.
right? When it now,
Yeah.
now I'm gonna unfreeze everything. And can you freeze other places? Oh yeah, you can. Maybe you're done dealing with all of these people. You've dealt with 20 people. You're done for the day with 20 people, and you're just like, I don't even want to keep going. So you can just say, I just want to start from here, right? So you can do that. You can freeze from here. The problem with that is that you are freezing from here to go and compare maybe William Claire to Peter Laura, but see how I don't have the top, I don't have that top row. So it's rare, but you can do that too. You can kind of freeze somewhere in the middle. Like I'm done for the first 20, now let me deal with these. That's not normal. That said, it's possible. Anywhere you click, you can, I'm going to unfreeze. I could go over here and freeze everything as of here. I don't see why, but maybe in some situations it might help you. So I'm freezing it from the middle. There's a better explanation of this that is not freezing. If you want to do that, then you would do something called splitting. So we're going to go work on splitting for a minute. So for now, the freezes really are useful for only top row, only column, or both column and top row. That's where the freezing really works. Okay. Now, let's do this. Let me have us, I'm going to zoom down a little bit so that you can see. I want to do, you know how we have a total down here for November? See, that threw me an example. I don't know what these things are, but that is not November. The total is there. I have no idea what that is. It's totally crazy. I'm going to have to look into that. It seems like it's a glitch. So this is my totals, right? And so I know that such and such person, and see, by not freezing, I don't know which person made 80,000 and this person made 80 and da, da, da. But what I don't have here is totals for how much all of my, maybe these are vendors, how much all of my vendors purchased, or you know, the total of my what's this, January, February, March, April. And again, see how silly I have to count to see what this is because I don't have it frozen. So let's go ahead, and I want to be able to put here a total, and let's say by month, this would be total by month, as much as this would be really the total per vendor, right? So right there, this total should, if you want to be specific, total per vendor, right? And this here at the very bottom is gonna be total by month. So let's head over to you know, column A, row 32. Let's actually change the color a tad, because since it's the same color as this data, it might get confusing. I'm gonna just do that really quickly so that it's a bit easier. So it's a little bit lighter green, just so that we can see. And then over here, what I'm gonna do, you tell me, what should I do to add all this up? Now I have 81 rows. I'm gonna go sum. Let's go ahead, and if I want to do the automatic, I just click on auto sum right there. Boom. See, I have to say, I'm gonna escape. For me, the auto sum button right there isn't even that useful for me, because I hate going to stuff with my mouse. I personally, when I'm working fast, like shortcuts. I'm not saying that this is not a good thing to do, but going all the way there, if I have to do a lot of things, takes time. So I would have preferred here, for example, to just write equal and start writing sum and then just double click, right? That to me would make more sense, right? Anyway, just a thought. But let's just go ahead and hit sum, and it's a number. How can I trust that it's the right number? I can see over here that there's is that correct? Doesn't look like that's correct. That's subtotal. That's subtotal. That's not total. Why is it giving me subtotal? It's got the wrong, does this have a pre-formatted formula in there?
Oh, is it 410,000? That's the right total though.
Yeah, but the formula,
If you,
it's a different
Got it.
formula, and it's counting. It's a different formula. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but it's not the right formula. If I delete it,
The result
enter.
is right, teacher, but
I know.
yeah.
It's the result is right, but it's
Big-
because it is a
probably
subtotal.
say
But
subtotal because it Excel thinks that January is a subtotal of only for per month.
yeah,
Is my guess.
let me just, I could have just written, at this point, it's easier to just write it, right? But let me just see. Oh. This got written incorrectly. Yeah, I think it's when you, okay, so when is Excel knows that what you're trying to do is a subtotal because it isn't a total. So even though I went to auto sum, it gave me the subtotal formula. And since I haven't taught you a subtotal formula, I was wanting to show total, but anyway, I'd never noticed that if you go to auto sum, it chooses a different formula. So this is the first time I noticed that. That's all. That said, the total is correct. That is the sum, but they use another formula for it. Anyway. I'm gonna mute you, Doran. Okay. All right. So either way, let's go for this. And yeah, if it gives us the other subtotal, it doesn't matter. Let's hit that. And then let's just drag this over, right? Let's just drag it, drag it, drag it, drag it. And drag it, drag it, drag it. No, something's wrong. This should be the same number. This
Yeah,
changed.
mine did that too.
What is this
It's
then?
summing
This is the sum.
B82.
It looks like
um,
it's summing itself. Look at that.
It's summing it across instead of down.
Yeah. This is like it's a pre-formatted. Obviously, I have not used this for adding. This one I use for sorting data, but it's been pre-formatted in a way that's kind of hard to tell. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of what I just did. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to go over here and see what, let me undo. What was the number that was here before?
It was 300. That was the wrong amount because if you look at
Yeah,
the,
I'm gonna undo because it's adding the, it's
Oh,
adding
corrected
the, yeah, it's adding the, it's adding itself, it's adding 82. So that was bizarre. All right. So this is what we opened it up with. Sorry, I'm me trying to figure something out. Let me zoom out because you probably are getting dizzy. Let me zoom out a little bit. And this is why with lots of data, you have to find better ways. So I've zoomed out so that I can see most of my data. And all I wanted was to figure out the monthly total, let's call it monthly totals, which are a subtotal. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to hit auto sum. And then as we drag it over, that is this total should be identical if it goes that way. Then if I correct it and I send it up that way, it'll be the same numbers. It's about 5,328 totals. But let me give this little row a different color so that we're aware that it's a different set of numbers. Okay. All of that, all of that was because I wanted to show you a couple of other kind of things. But first, let me know if you did this. Basically, all you need to do is hit the auto sum on row 82 in the second column, in column B, B82, hit sum, and this will work. And then grab the little box underneath and then just drag it, drag it, drag it, drag it until you get to the end. That's all you need to do. Once you did that, okay, then give me a yes. Oh yeah, freeze pane is, I'm looking at, you probably wrote this a while ago. Freeze pane is super valuable. Yeah, I mean, you can't on big spreadsheets live without the freeze pane. Okay, Charlie, did you get this monthly totals row in the bottom? And it's not monthly. Remotely full, it's monthly. Okay. All right. So Charlie, are you there? What's the sound? Okay.
My eyes are bothering me again, so I'm just listening to you.
Oh, got it, got it. I hear you. No, that's fine. I just wanted to know. All right. No, and that's fine because you then go and catch up and do the work. You posted everything and everything. So if you tell me that, then I know and I won't keep like calling on you. All right. So, so there's something totally different that we can do. That's not just freeze pane. So freeze panes, once again, I'll just from view, you hit freeze panes after calling the first one, and then this will give me all that information that is wonderful. But I can't freeze this one. So what if I'm trying to see up here? For some reason, I need to see the total of March, but I'm working on Alexander Gomez. There's no way I can see that bottom row. Even if I freeze those, this bottom row isn't freezable. You know what I mean? So there has to be another way to see anything that's not just these two top ones. So I'm going to unfreeze the pane. So start by unfreezing everything. Okay, let's unfreeze everything. Make sure that when you go up and down that nothing gets reserved, so to say. Make sure it's all unfrozen. And remember that all you need to do is click here and it goes to freeze or unfreeze. So as long as it says freeze, that means that you're good. Everything has been unfrozen, right? And when you're here, what we're going to do instead is we're going to work on this other option, which is split. So watch first what a split might be. I'm going to go ahead, for example, and select I don't know. Maybe I'll select, let me just select a column. And I'll say split. So now I selected H and I said split, right? So watch. I have, see this kind of grayish line that's a bit bigger right here? That's because I selected that column. Now, if I move to the right and left here, I can go up and down, right? In there. And here I can go up and down as well. It's like I have the same one repeated. It's like I'm splitting my window into two, and I can do this. So maybe I want to compare my June numbers to my April numbers, right? So I can grab this here. I wanted the gray line that right now is the split, and I can just move it over a little bit over here so that I can, not that one, grab it from here and move it over here to April. So now I've got column D, and I'll drag this over and I can compare April to November, right? Before I could, so basically I have this one moves completely independently on its own. And then this one moves completely independently on its own. You see that? So then I can compare, maybe even in this case, totals of names to their total, because I'm on the last column, L, on this pane, and on this pane, I'm on the A column. So now I can see, wow, Rice, Ivy, 76,000, Molina, Zeus, 67, right? Durham, 58. So this allows me to compare different things. So I can go over here and look at, as I said, so put my mouse over here, and maybe what I want to do is check out February over there. And then over here, I wanted to check out February against, I don't know, October, right? That, I don't know. That's an example. Did that work for you guys? So each one, it's like two panes. It's like having two windows into the same exact cell. Now, if on top of that, I freeze this, see how it's the same cell as, if I select any cell, it's being selected everywhere. It's the same cell. I'm seeing it twice. So if I select March row 7, then over here, the same one is selected. If I select over here, July row 26, it's selected everywhere. So now I'm going to select again the top B2, and now I'm going to freeze panes again, right? But this time I can, it did not want to freeze when I was split, but I've definitely done this before. Maybe unsplit it first. First freeze panes. I freeze panes, so now they're frozen. And now I'm going to split it right here. And now I have so it's giving me, it only is freezing the top one, but not the side one. Well, it's better than nothing because I have kept my top one frozen so I can know where January is, but it's not freezing my first column. Anyway, because what I have right now is two split. So let me undo this and let me show you another way to split this. If you put your cell here, let's put our cell somewhere in the middle just for fun. I'm gonna grab somewhere in the middle, whatever, what this is, June, Marcia, June 17th, row 17. So that's E17, okay? Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head over here to the word split. Because I'm in somewhere in the middle, when I hit split, I'm not just choosing a column, I'm in the cell, and I hit split. I have just made a 4-way split. See? Above and to the left of the cell that I've chosen, I have drawn a line. 2, a vertical and a horizontal. So now watch. This might be, if the first one gave you a bit of a headache, the second one is even more so. So now I'm going to go ahead, and each one of these is its own. It's like I have 4 versions of it now. See that? So I'm looking at row 1 through 16, and then again row 1 through 16. if I want to be able to compare row 16 Buckminster to Marshall Duncan, row 74, see over here, I'm looking at row 15, and then I've split it. And here I'm looking at row 70, and I'm hiding and not seeing everything else. And then over here, I'm comparing April and October, right? So it's basically, you can move up and down, left and right when you have a 4-way split. So now I can just compare absolutely anything I want visually right now. This is just seeing my entire set of data in a way that I can just go, well, I really need to see Courtney McIntosh and what she did in, you say, October. So I'll put Courtney McIntosh over here and what she made in October in comparison to Buckminster. Maybe they're partners and they're two that work together, and how much each one made. Ooh, looks like Buckminster Green has made a lot more money than Courtney McIntosh, right? So if I want to just do visual comparisons like that, that's going to work. Does that make sense? Now this isn't going to work for selecting, because say that I want to select these two. They're not really next to each other. This is row 16 and this is row 78. So over here, I can select these two. But over here, if I try to select over a split, that's not going to work, because I really have a ton of rows in between, right? I could do shift, click, shift if I want to collect them, but I can't just select them both, because truly there are a ton, I don't know off the top of my head how many rows between the number 16 and the number 78. And over here, I'm hiding all of the columns between D and L. So I'm not seeing everything. I could just, but I can see everything twice. Does that make sense, you guys? This is how you would have to work with when you want to be able to visually handle a whole bunch of data when you need to see things at the same time, right? So say that I have in my class, in my credit classes where I have to give grades and I have 30 students and I have a ton of assignments, like maybe there's 50 assignments. When I want to see how they're doing, my final grade is way over there, 50 columns over to the right. And I want to go, how's Carlos doing? I can't tell. I can't just go back and forth. So I just do this. I do the split column more than the freeze, which is why I was kind of drawing a blank on there, because I'll just split the columns and I'll just drag over their grades. And then I can easily compare how these people are doing, because I just go, oh, Doyle, ooh, he's got a C, he's about to fail, let me go and warn him, you know. So I can just go back and forth on all the assignments and be able to compare, how did he go in his third assignment? And that's the third assignment. And I go, third assignment did well, but eighth assignment he didn't, right? So I'm just jumping around the data to see if I need to support a student more than another or stuff like that. Okay. Now I don't have 82 students, so mine aren't that long, but they are many more columns wide for me. When I get to all my assignments, it gets really long. Any questions? Has it worked, first of all? Oh, and by the way, it's hard to see these lines because they're gray, but this one is formatted in gray as well. So it's kind of confusing. Let me just really quickly to just for the sake of you guys seeing the lines better, I'm going to no fill anywhere. Oh, this isn't filled. This is actually formatting. I haven't shown you the formatting, the cell styles. Okay, so forget that. I wanted to have, this is a table formatting, so I'm not going to ignore it. It's hard to see these 4 lines. They're gray, but you can move them. So you can grab them from here and move them over. You can grab this one from here and move it up, right? And so then you're moving in this mode. Okay, so wherever, or you can grab it from right from the middle and drag the entire axis over here, and then you're moving things from here and from here. If this is working for you and you can see it and you understand it, let me know. If you need a bit more of an example or explanation, let me know. How's it going? Yep. All right, Andrew.
Yeah, so to get the 4-way, you have to split and you have to select something in the middle, right? A
Yeah,
cell
actually,
in
if
the-
I don't select anything, say that I'm here under name. whatever, and I'm there and I do a split, it defaults to kind of the center of the page right there.
Right.
And there's your split and you just move it to wherever you need it or wherever you want it.
That's,
Okay.
yeah,
So it's not about where you select, it's just wherever you want. Now, when
Right.
I did select a whole column for a split, then I'm splitting it in only two pieces. It's only left or right. I don't have my top bottom split at all. I can only go left and right, see? But if I
Right.
don't choose anything and I just choose a cell and then I do split, then that's the split that I get. Now, if I were to have selected a whole row, for example, and do a split there, then I can do top and bottom without the sides, right? So vice versa. So now I want to be able to see the top of my list and the bottom of my list at the same time. So that's by selecting an entire row or to get, and now I unsplit that I have to keep doing, or if I select a column, then I split one way, sideways only. Whoops. Now it only gives me the side split. No, it's still giving me the top bottom there. That's
And it's a toggle function.
yeah,
It toggles.
on and off. Now I'm getting the force thing again, even though I selected, I don't know why it's doing weird stuff. It worked fine to show you only two before, but now it keeps giving me. Why am I selecting this one and it's highlighting G? Something's really weird here. I'm trying to select G and that's the one that's highlighting. See this, see like my mouse is off on a different thing. Let me stop my share and restart because something really strange is happening here. So I'm gonna say don't save and open it up again. Because sometimes things get messed up and I've been doing so many back and forth. So let me just open it up again without having saved and I'll reshare. It's just something was not. Let me see. No answer yet on my text. Because I wanted to see if this was happening also. Nope, no answer. All right, so now, okay, so now it's selecting what I want. Okay, and now when I select that row, it is selecting that. And if I go to view and I say split, it's splitting halfway. Yeah, something there began to do some weird stuff. So now it's working as it should. For some reason, I was hovering over one and different things were showing up. Okay, I'm going to unsplit and there we go. All right. I'm going to clear your feedback. Now, how about if I want to compare Central Coast to East Coast at the same time? Or Central, East, and West, right? So what I can do is opening them each one as their own window. So let me go ahead and, well, I'm wondering if I'm going to have to reshare because they're going to open as separate windows. Hold on, I'm going to stop my share because otherwise the share is going to mess up because it's not going to show up all my windows. So give me a second here. Huh. I'm going to have to restart again. It's just not doing. Okay, it's not. Even without sharing, it's not opening it. I'll wait until after break where I'm gonna look and see what's happening because it's not letting me separate the sheets into their own windows right now. So I'm gonna show you this later because I'll have to research and see why it's not doing it. Again, I'm kind of messed up with the fact that this is not a file I created, and I'm surprised by all those things that were showing up there when I wanted to see it before, so it's a bit confusing. Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing, so you guys don't know what I'm pointing to. Okay, so I'll just ignore that for now. Couple more things. Let's go because the way windows are arranged is a little bit different. So basically, if I go over here to window, I need to share my entire screen for you guys to see this because a Mac doesn't share, and this is the part that's confusing. On a Mac, you don't see that top part. That is important. So I have to share my entire desktop. I'm going to open this up to make it a bit easier. Okay. And then up here over window, see, I can open a new window. So for you guys who are on a PC, you see it is part of Excel, but on a Mac, this can be a floater and it's still up there. Okay, so it needs to for sure say Excel over there and window over here. So now I'm going to do that. I'm going to say window and I'm going to choose a new window. So now this is a new window for the same exact file. You guys see that? I'm making a new window. I have two windows of the exact same thing. But over on this one, I can be looking at the East Coast, right? So now I can compare window to window, but it's kind of hard because one is on top of the other. So what I can do is I go up here to window again, and I'm going to say arrange. And I'm going to arrange them in vertical format. And I'm going to say, okay. Oh, I had some others open here. Hold on, let me close. These are other files that I had open. So and that's why it's doing that. So let me do that again. Arrange vertical. So now it puts them as if they were two files. This is one file, this is another. It's the same file. This is one window for the file and this is another, right? So if I were to want to compare all four, I can do that. So now I can be looking over here. Let me go to the top. In fact, let me select on that and freeze this one. And I'm going to freeze panes there. And I'm going to go over here to the top B2. And I go to view and I'm going to freeze pane there. And then now I can go top right and down and move and see both of these at the same time. They're the same file. They're just two of the windows. If I open four windows, I can see them all at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and open a new window. And in this one, I'm going to be seeing the West Coast. And then I'm going to open another window. And on that one, I'm going to be seeing, what am I missing? East Coast? No, Central at this point. That's all four.
How did you get, can you show me where the window thing is? I'm not seeing window at
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
let me finish this because this is a Mac thing. Let me just finish this and then I'll show you in a minute. So let me just show you this and then I'll go ahead and show you what I mean by window. And now I have my 4 sheets, okay, opened as if each one was in its individual file, which they're not. They're each one their own, but it helps me go ahead and compare all at the same time. Let me close all of this and see if I can figure out how to do it on the PC. You guys don't have anything on the top that says files, window, the stuff that I have here. Oh, can someone share your screen so I can help you find it? Because I don't, like someone who has a PC, share your screen so that I can help you figure out how to do it on your screen because I can't show it. I can't see it without seeing it. I can't remember. Okay. Oh, there you go. On the view tab, right above freeze pane, see how it says new window? So in the, like, you see where you see your freeze panes, where you've been doing it all this time? Who's, yeah, who's sharing? Andrew, okay.
Yeah.
So go over to where it says freeze panes. You've been doing that, right? Oh, you stopped the share.
Oh, do you want me to share it again?
Yeah. I'm trying to show
Okay,
you
because
where
I
to do
can't,
it.
I can't manipulate it while I'm sharing it. All right. All
Oh,
right.
you can't work on it when you're sharing? What do you mean?
I don't think, no, I don't.
You're not seeing, yeah, put your mouse over stuff and you'll see that it still works. Go click on
Okay.
January. See how it works? Yeah. So now, yeah, you can keep working on it even if it's sharing. All right. So now head over to, oh,
I don't see it.
Says view.
what
Says
are you
view,
not
you
seeing?
said we're
Hold on. What are you not seeing, Karen?
I don't see where you guys are seeing this thing, so I.
But are
where's
you
view? I'm on
seeing
view now.
Andrew?
What do we-
Are you seeing Andrew's screen?
Yeah, so
Okay.
what did he pick? Well, I'm looking at mine and then things happen so quick, I didn't see what happened.
Okay, let me do this. He's not doing it yet. Let me just request remote control for a second. See if you can
Go
say,
for it.
do you see a request? Do you see it? Can you say yes?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, that's okay. All right, so
Go
now
ahead.
don't move your mouse at all. Imagine that this is me sharing it, right? So this is a PC computer where over here, when you go to view, then you see over here the new window. So over
Oh,
here is where we went to freeze panes, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
we
I see it.
froze the panes for this one. Right above it, you're gonna open, right there, you're gonna open a new window. And this window that's kind of floating around, I'm gonna say, well, that, I wanna see the East Coast on this one. On this bottom one, I was seeing the Central Coast, right there. Let me look at the Central Coast on this one. And I'm gonna go in and do the whole freeze pane for each one, right? So I'm gonna freeze panes for that one. Then here's my new window, which appears kind of all over the place. And it's my East Coast. So I'm gonna go over here and freeze that pane. But now it's hiding, right? They're one on top of the other, right? Let me freeze those panes. But I'm gonna open another window. Now it's on the side, another window. And this, I'm gonna see West Coast. So I'm switching to a different one each time. I'm gonna keep freezing the top panes just to make it easier on the view. So it's almost as if I have 5 files open. Right, and then the last new window, I'm gonna look at international. Okay, and then I'm gonna go back to view, freezing the panes. Good. So now I have 4 windows here that is really confusing because I can't reach one or the other. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna head over to view side by side. Instead of switching back and forth between workbooks, view them side by side. It makes it much easier. So I'm going to click on view side by side. Oh, that's not working. Switch windows. It's just that it's in a different place than on the Mac. Okay, here, next to window, arrange all. Here we go. Arrange all. Click on that. And then this will pop up. Arrange them all. And I'm going to say vertical, for example. I'm going to say, okay.
oh,
Now,
that's
I
cool.
didn't even need to open them all, by the way, just so you know. So this is that. Now I'm going to actually close them all. I know that this is weird. I just did all that work. I'm going to close them all because I just found on the PC what I was looking for before and I couldn't find it. I just saw it the moment I said that. I saw the one that does it for you. Hold on.
Sorry, teacher, I didn't see the
Yeah.
the exact moment when you
Yeah,
speak
hold on. Because the moment I said go, I saw the thing that I had been looking for that I couldn't find until then. So I'm going to go back out. So close any extra windows. And here it is. When you head over to arrange all, one choice is to arrange all the windows of the active workbook. That's the one, because instead of having to open one by one, which is what we just did. Wait, is that my son? No, this is my other son. He's not the one who's at the movies. Okay. Someone walked in, but it's not the one I need. Okay. So now when I say okay, why? arrange all. My windows. Okay. Oh, it didn't do it. So the PC doesn't do it? Huh. All right, I thought that would do it. Okay, so then I have to go back to what I did before. There's a way, it's this, there's a few things that are different in the Mac and the PC that's driving me crazy.
Can I add to that, Deanna?
Yeah,
Okay, this Zoom toolbar with like chat and pause share and remote control, it's at the top. And so it's
Oh.
blocking my view. It's
oh,
totally
got it.
new.
But it's not in mine, so let me actually
Yeah,
move your
yeah, I
Excel
know.
down. There we go.
Thank you.
So I
Okay,
can actually help you with that. Yeah, I'll move this
thanks.
down a little bit so that you don't have that issue. There, yeah, because the Zoom
Perfect.
tools are in the way now. Okay, so let me move it up a little bit. Ah, come on, move it up. It is a bit clunky always when I use someone else's computer, but it works. But so thank you for letting me do this on yours. Okay, so for some reason it's not doing automatically. It looks like you do need to open a new window each time.
That's
So
fine.
click on Q1 sheet. Yeah, you have to do it for each one. So I'm going to say new window. And then I'm going to see West Coast. Yeah, that's all I can do. Then I'm going to go say new window. And I'm going to see East Coast. That's all I can do. And go back to view, new window. And then I'm going to do Central Coast. Okay. So now I have 4, and this is the part that I had done quickly, but then I said, oh, wait, I saw the solution and I didn't. So now I have 4 windows, one on top of the other. So now I go back again to view. And
Arrange.
now I say arrange all. See that, Sal? Arrange all. And I click arrange all. It asks me, I said vertical. Let's do it here horizontal right now, just because I've been saying vertical.
Let's check it
I
out.
say
Yeah.
Arrange all. Okay. And I'm going to say, okay. And now it's not as useful because I'm only seeing the ribbon. Oh, it's so small. I can't see all 4. So this was a bad idea. Let's rearrange.
Sorry, Deanna, I've got a bigger screen. I'm just too lazy to like use.
No,
my...
that's all right. Vertical is better. I'm going to say, okay, because vertical, I can still operate them, right? So here we
Yeah.
go. I can go up and down, and then I can select on this one, and I can go up and down or right and left. Now I haven't frozen all the corners, so you might want to do it yourself to be able to free. Let me go back here. I can't do the shortcut to go back on this because it's a
No,
Mac.
but if you go to the bottom of the and you scroll, you can use the scroll bar, the horizontal scroll bar there, and get all the
Yeah.
way in there.
I'm not
then freeze
accustomed
the
to
pane.
having the Mac, the PC. I don't have that scroll bar down there because I have my magic mouse. Okay. So, so now I can compare everything all at once, as far as all my, so maybe I just want to go to the totals and compare a photo. Anyway, last week I showed you how to add up the totals of 4 different, sheets, remember? But in this case, it's more about managing data than totals, right? So there we go. That would be one way to do it. Now, if instead of that, instead of saying arrange all to compare them side by side, if I say that I want them tiled, I'm going to say, okay, then I get 4, up and down for each one. Then I click on this one and I can up and down on this one. Okay. And then the
Cool.
last choice, which is arrange all cascade. Hello. Right there. And I say, okay. Then that's going back to the mess that we had at the beginning. Okay. They're cascading that. And that's the one that you have to switch. You can switch windows in a different way. But it, so you can go, okay, I want to go to the first one or the second one or the first. So I'm going to go and switch to number 1. Now I'm going to go to the next one, switch to number 3. Right now I go to the next one and switch to number 4. Right. But you'd see one at a time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And now let's go back to arrange all. The best one of these at this point was either vertical or I think tiled was kind of one of the best,
Agreed.
or I have a better idea for all of them. All right. Now, if you're done seeing them all and you want to say maybe you have an uneven number and you close one of these and you have 3, and if you have 3 and you say arrange all tiled and you say, okay, then it makes one bigger than the other two. See that? Anyway, that's enough with organization and stuff like that. I want to actually get us to dealing with this data in a different way, which has to do with sorting and filtering and that kind of stuff. So some conditional formatting. So anyway, this was just about being able to compare multiple sheets, different ways, and then basically freeze panes is almost a daily thing when you're working with big files, and split panes. I use those a lot. I use this less. Normally, I don't need to compare sheet to sheet myself, but that's, you know, people's business are different. So I don't know if Karen, this might be useful for her more than it is for me. So I don't do this as much, but it's really cool to be able to do it. I'm going to close all of these different ones, and I'm going to leave you in charge again, Andrew, so you can try this yourself.
Okay.
I'm going to move this, stop my share so that you can now move your own windows and do it. Because when I do it, you can't learn, right? So go ahead and do it and tell me if there's if you run into any things. So meanwhile, since you already did it, how about everyone else? Karen, Sal, any questions? Did it work well for you?
You first, Trina.
What's that?
No, it works, but weird thing is that I can manipulate two of the screen at the same time, and it's useful. But the other two, I have to do manual. For example, if I want to make zoom in or zoom out, I
Mhm.
can do taking advantage in two of them. May I show you?
So yeah, please share screen.
It's interesting because look, in this moment.
And you're not, I'm not
not
seeing
yet.
it yet.
Oh,
So
sorry,
try
I just
again.
select. I
So
didn't
share
click
and
share.
then again. There we go.
Okay.
Hold on. There we go. Okay, so I'm seeing your four windows next to each other.
Okay.
Okay.
I gonna do scroll.
And by the
zoom
way,
in.
you're seeing the exact same window 4 times, right?
Yes. Yes. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I mean, let me change this one.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But yeah. Yeah.
Can you
When
see?
you zoom, yeah, when you
And-
zoom into a window.
But when I click in this one,
Mhm.
only happen in this one, and in the fourth is the same.
Yeah.
But in the first and the
Even,
second are engaged in any way.
oh,
It's interesting, right?
oh,
I don't know how.
oh, I hadn't noticed what you mean. Yeah, like it's zooming on both at the same time.
Yeah.
When it shouldn't. Technically, it shouldn't, unless you're
Yes.
seeing on the left side, you're looking at something called central. On the right side, you're looking at central 2, central 2, central 2. So I'm wondering if that makes a difference. So click on central. And now,
No.
no. That one is linked. Interesting. I don't know. That is weird. Normally it should be that they don't zoom in at the same time. You have to zoom them all individually.
I mean, it's useful, but
It is, it's great, but I don't know how you manage to do that, because normally they're not
Neither do
linked.
I.
They zoom in individually. So there's somehow, when you did it, when you created your new one, there was some other thing
I wish no,
chosen.
because it's really useful, but
It's- yeah,
it's okay.
to
Probably
zoom
next
in and
time.
out at the
Yeah.
same point. Go ahead and close them all up and then open them again, and let's see how you open them, because if you know how you had to either click yes or no on that windows of the same sheet or not. I think there's another choice there. Let me go to my view on my Mac, which shows different. There's
I mean, I was thinking this is a good thing, but if I want to change only one, it's not as good because both of them are going to change. So, 50-50.
it's good if you have control of it, but if you don't, then it's kind of, if you don't want to lose your spot on the other one. So, oh, there, synchronous scrolling. Stop, don't leave. I see it right at the top. You have clicked on view side by side and you have synchronous scrolling.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't see that on the Mac. I don't see the view side by side.
I didn't know about this
Some
function.
features like this are the ones that are a little bit different. I don't have that on the Mac. So you have
You're
in
right.
between. I don't have that at all. I have the split height and then I have the switch windows. This choice of view side by side is not a choice for me. is not an option for me. So that's interesting. So there you
Only
go.
for PCs. Okay.
Turn off, go ahead and open another window.
Oh, let me cancel this one
Yeah, there you go.
and arrange. It's arrange alt and vertical, I think.
Mhm.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
now they're zooming in on their own.
Okay.
Oh, but the second one, now the second one
Yeah,
is,
but-
well, see if you can turn it off. Go to the view on the one that's synchronous. Those
But,
two in the middle are synchronous, see?
Yeah,
So
but
now
I
go up to,
can.
yeah, go to
Oh.
view.
Let me make this one.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's too. No, it's no.
No, but go ahead and turn it, leave it off. I don't know why, but you can turn it off individually. So let's see, scroll to documents at the same time. So go ahead and say again, arrange all and see all the windows. Okay, and now, let's see. Okay, so now they're all individual.
Okay.
Okay, yay.
Okay, I need to practice to master it.
No, it's fine. But it's interesting because see, I don't have that option at all. I don't see that. Now I'm curious. Now I'm gonna start going, oh, can we scroll in and out
Oh,
on
mhm.
the split windows on a Mac? Because I don't see that choice. So that would be nice to have that
Okay.
happen.
I will
Anyway,
practice. Thank you, teacher.
no, your question is right on, and you're right on. You know, you're clearly figuring out how it is that we're going to be using these things. Okay, so I'm looking at the time. Let's take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to get deep into sorting, filtering, and a lot of other cool things. I'm looking at the time. 7:07. I don't have.
7:22.
Thank you.
Uh,
Now you know me. See, you already know what I was gonna
Yeah.
ask, which is
Oh,
someone
come
figure it
on,
out for
Deanna.
me.
You knew that one.
Well, I hadn't
Yeah.
thought it through. You got it. You got there faster. By the way, I'm the
I'm
mom
always
of
thinking.
the kind of kid that you just go, what's 247 times 300 plus 95? And he goes, boom. And it's like amazing. I don't know how he does it. I have no idea how his brain works that out, but he came out of me. So clearly I have something in me that would maybe make it happen. I just don't use that function in my brain. So
What year is he in school?
he's in high school. He's going to be a junior.
Wow.
That's
But he
like
was a
Rain
party.
Man shit.
He was a party trick for us when he was like 5 or whenever, when kids have not known how to add anything yet. People at school, the friends, people are relatives. Hey, Joaquin, what's 7 plus 13? 20. There's this little tiny thing. And I'm like, how is your
Wow.
brain doing that? You don't
He gonna
even
be an
know
engineer?
it was like his brain, works differently than mine, clearly.
Is he gonna be an
Clearly.
engineer?
I don't know. Actually, he's more in marine biology. Science seems to
Oh.
be his thing, but who knows?
Oh.
Anyway, clearly it's a different person. All right. See you guys at 7:22.
Right.
All right, I'm back. But the other person who's also back is my son with my phone. So I'm trying to connect to VDI. But we just got a message saying that that they're having issues with pipeline. So I'll give it one more try and see, but at least I can get my code now. So let me see if they let me in.
And when does number 3 start? Excel 3?
Thursday.
Okay.
So on Thursday, we start with 3. So here's my code 884 605. Yeah, Thursday. So I'll send another good old, hey, welcome, come on in. But I'm looking at the roster. I'm not seeing new faces. So I can probably am not gonna, I'm gonna have everyone come in maybe only 15 minutes later. Leave the 15 minutes. There's a few people who aren't new, but who haven't been here, who probably don't have the file. So instead of starting at 5:30, instead of having everyone wait a long time, which I did the first time to get everyone set up, I'm just going to assume that most people are people who've already been in the class. So at most I might say, join me 15 minutes later. I'll look at the list well and I'm emailing and I'll decide if I even, maybe everyone, we would just start at 5:30. That said, I'm going to be teaching from Berkeley. We're leaving. I'm not going to be here. I'm heading over to take my son is starting at UC Berkeley, and we're taking him there to set up the place. And
Really good school.
I'm going to be mentally an absolute basket case and disaster
What is he
because
majoring
I'm
in?
missing him desperately already.
What is he majoring in, Diana? What is he majoring in?
His thing is film and
Oh, wow.
media. Yeah.
Deanna,
he's,
you gotta call Cal. You can't call Berkeley.
I know, I'm not accustomed to that yet. And
I
even
know,
when we did the
you'll get it.
tour, we did the tour and they said that Cal is more what they call it for sports and Berkeley for like academics. I don't know. I've never, Cal is California. I don't get it. But yeah,
I
they say
know.
Cal. And for me, it's like, what? Soon
It was
I'll be
all-
all like,
yeah.
he's a Cal, I'll figure it out where
I
I
know.
am
It was
still.
I thought it was snobby. It's a point of contention for me.
You have to hate
Uh,
Stanford, too.
What's that?
You have to hate Stanford.
Oh,
if you
yes.
go to
Yeah, we did this tour and they told us that we're supposed to hate Stanford. So I'm like, okay, thank you for telling me that we're now supposed to hate Stanford. I don't know. I had no idea that that's the deal, but I'm happy to toe the line since I don't care one way or another. But
Everybody hates Cal.
and Stanford probably hates Cal. I don't know. I was like, really? I had no idea. That's how it goes. Okay, so I'm just going over here to open the same file. So give me a second while I'm Google Drive and shared drives and Excel 1, 2, 3 and class exercises. All right. Oh no, it was in download. Okay, so that's to open the same file that we had on the other one. Okay, here we go. So now I can have the same features that you had, which I didn't have on mine. So there they are. That's the features we were working on. Okay, but we're not going to do that anymore. Actually, we're going to sit here still in the view. And I'm going to back out a little bit, meaning back out, see this kind of from further away. Because the first or second day, one of these days, very few times, I showed you how to get a preview, a print preview. And in this case, look at how many columns we have, like 80 something columns, rows, I'm sorry. And I don't know how many letters is up to the end, but basically A through N on columns. That's a lot of columns. Oh, and there's one more thing I needed to show you about seeing things. So before I explain about the preview, let me show you one more thing about seeing things and not seeing things that you need to see just as quickly. I can hide columns or rows too. And this is, say that sometimes there's information you don't need to see. And a file that I gave you guys here, and I believe I gave it to you guys, is the class. Did I add the class roster with no personal info? Let me make sure whether you have that. over here, if file open, I think I put it on the general, past exercises. Does it say class files with no, or no? Did I not give you guys that file? And it's not here. No, okay, it's not there. All right, so you don't have that file, but let me give you and using the example of what we have. We'll just use the example of the same window that we're working on. Okay, back. All right, so say that I'm trying to compare January and December, right? And I want to see them next to it. And I don't want to do all that, anything that we did before. I don't want to do any of the I'm sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and go from C through L. I'm selecting all those columns, C through L. Okay. And then I'm just going to right click and hide them. So now I'm seeing only A, B, M, and N. I am not seeing the columns that are in the middle.
Wow.
So I can compare that, do whatever I want. I mean, they're gone. If I scroll up and down, well, they're not gone. I mean, but they're truly not there. It's not about hiding and sometimes I was going to give you the example of this with like address and stuff like that. And that's what the file that I was hoping to show you, where sometimes you want to look for I don't want to make us open another one, but well, you do have something called long addresses, everyone. And that might be a one for you guys to open to do this. But basically, maybe let me just, there's a file. If you want to go ahead and open a file called long addresses, do that. I'm going to share it with you because you have it, but you guys go open it. Meanwhile, I'll show it to you because I want to do this really quickly. So say I have this file, right? And it's a typical list of people's names and addresses and stuff like that. And maybe I have to call people, right? And I need to sit there and make phone calls. Well, I'm going to call Melody Jackson and I have to go here and wonder, okay, is that her number or is that her number? What is the number? So why don't I just go ahead and let's hide all of this for a little bit. Sorry, columns. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to right click and just hide them for a little bit. And then here's, Melanie Jackson, I'll dial 807, right? Or Jones, Like I can do without the stuff in between while I am trying to compare, or in this case, use this data. I hid between C and J, I hid all the others. When I'm done and I need to see my entire thing again, I'll select these two, right click and unhide. Now I see all my stuff again, right? So if you find the long addresses file, okay, there's a practice file. But anyway, you have the long addresses one too. And that's basically all I wanted to show. Let me see what's in the CF practice file. Yeah, there you go. The CF practice file would have worked as well. So if you see the CF practice file, open that one up. And it's kind of like this one, okay? There's just a bunch of other stuff in there, but that's all I wanted to show you. Okay, so if you're trying to do that, let's actually open long addresses anyway, because I'm going to show you something else on this one, which is this has much more variety than the one that we've been using. So that works. All right, so this one doesn't have much variety in data, so it just works for amounts of data, but it doesn't have much variety. Okay, so now over here, I've hidden between B and M. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to select these columns and I'm going to right click, back up there, B through M, right click and unhide. And now I'm seeing all my months again. Okay, so you might want to do that. Now you could also say that you want to hide individual ones. So you just want to hide C, and what you can't, you can't like, let let me see. You couldn't before, but things are changing. So no, let me see. If I just want to hide C and E and G, let's say I want to hide those. Can I hide them like that? I've held the command key on a Mac or control key on a PC to select non-contiguous columns. And can I hide them that way? Yeah. Look at that. I was able to hide all of those, and now I can compare B to D, D to F without the in-between ones. And there's only problem with this is that if you leave it that way, you save it, you send this file off to someone else. It's not a very big, clear indication that something's missing. So someone would really have to pay attention to A, B, D, F. Oh, okay. Looks like something's missing. Otherwise, they might be like, what's happened, right? So in this case, it's pretty clear. January, March, May, you can see something's missing, but sometimes it's not so clear. If what's missing is the zip code, or if you hid, something like that, then it might be like, well, what? So anyway, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and now select between all of them and right click and unhide, and now select them between those, and then just right click and unhide. And then right click and unhide. And now everything gets unhidden and I see everything again. Okay, so that's the only other thing I wanted to show you, because I hadn't shown you the hide unhide feature before I move on to something else. Any questions? Oh yeah, Karen, that's true. When you have to when you show things to people, and they need to work on your file, or you need to show things to people, but there's some data that's private, or you don't want to divulge right then. So you just hide a column for a while. Or in her case, she says, when you have source data that I don't want people to mess up, right? So say that this is data that you don't want these numbers to mess up, and people only need to do that. You just hide all the source data would be all of the stuff that's in all these columns. You just hide those columns, and then all they see is the people and the total, right? So you hide anything in between, and you just kind of go hide, and then there you go. That's all the information they need, because they're going to make calculations off of this or whatever. So yeah, it's all hidden and it's just safer, right? Anyway, I'm going to right click and unhide everything again. So yeah, there's so many different reasons, but so from the practical to the protection version, which is what Karen is saying. All right, let's go ahead. Let me open this. Oh, on the PC, let me open the same one that I just said I want, that I've already opened in my Mac, which is the long addresses. Here we go. So does everyone have long addresses open by now? All right. So let's do a little, what's that? Someone say something?
Yeah. I selected non-contiguous columns, but when I right clicked on the middle one. It doesn't, I don't get the hide option. Can I share my screen?
Actually, let me just show you one more time and then we'll see.
Okay.
Did you select pieces like that or the actual entire column?
Entire
'Cause
column.
you have to, okay, column. And then you did non-contiguous by holding down control, and you did
Yeah.
D and F. Okay, so up, I right clicked here on the column and that showed it to me. Maybe, did you click here? Does that
Okay,
make a difference?
it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it doesn't. So I'm up
Yeah.
here, I'm hiding the column, right? So
Right,
that's where
okay.
you need to do it. And so it gives you the options just for the column. Okay. So that's why sometimes I know that you need to share, and other times I can figure out
Right.
what might have been the problem until I show
Yeah.
that to you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's where you click matters. Okay. All right. So I'm going to head over to the long addresses one. And this we could do on any of them, but let me just do it on a different set of data. Now, it bugs me that this one doesn't have any lines. So just really quickly, I'm going to go from here down, and I'm going to scroll down to the end from very bottom. And I'm going to hold down Shift key and click on the top one again so that all my data gets selected. And I'm just going to put a very basic orders, because just for my brain, it's easier when I'm sharing this stuff to see what's happening, right? And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and write, my mouse is slipping. I'm going to go from here to here, and I'm going to give it a little color again, just so that my brain can see when I show you these things and teach, I want to see the categories a little bit better. All right. So, how funny. Since when do people use Mr., Mr. and Mrs.? How old is this? I don't think anyone really cares, right? Anymore, but anyway. I don't think I've seen something like this in people's data in a long, if any time. Anyway, so here we go. Say that we want to send some information here. We want to look at all this data. Say we have, hundreds of people in my email list or whatever, and we want to target only the people that live in Santa Barbara, right? It would take quite a while to go through this and start finding, okay, here's someone who's in Santa Barbara, that person, and then this one's in Santa Barbara, and then this one's in Santa Barbara, there's two more in Santa Barbara. So how do I just find everyone who's in Santa Barbara really quickly? Well, I can click anywhere in the column of Santa Barbara, of city, right? Because my goal is to find everyone who lives in Santa Barbara. I'm going to invite them to an event, whatever. I click on Santa Barbara, and then anything, just not a bunch, just a single click, any cell that's in this row. And then I'm going to go over here to the sort, but we're back in the home tab. I don't know if you're still maybe in the views and other places. And then there's the sort and filter choices, right? If I do nothing but click on sort and filter, that's it, without choosing anything else. I get, basically there's two choices only, from A to Z or Z to A, right there. So I'm going to click on A to Z. And my entire field of data reset itself, where the column F, which is city, is sorted by alphabetical order. So I didn't get to see who's in Santa Barbara, but the whole thing got sorted. So if I scroll down to the S, there we go. Now I can see, I can kind of select, see that these are the people who live in Santa Barbara. See that? So I can't choose at this point to see Santa Barbara. I'm just sorting in such a way that everything organizes itself by town. By default, file table, the spreadsheets tend to be, if it's information like this, which is first name, last name, they tend to be sorted by last name, maybe, is something we're accustomed to doing. If it's friends, we might do it by first name. So let's go back to last name here and click again here. And then let's click on that again. And let's again say sort A to Z. And now it's sorted A to Z by last name. See that? And we lost the sorting of city, right? Now, sortings are not going to help us much in address 1 if I click in here, because no one lives on the same street, right? So if you try to do a sort in here, it'll go by alphanumerical order. So it'll be 1, 102, 112, it'll kind of do that, but that's not useful to anyone until finally the first letter is PO box. So you can't sort all the data, but you can sort quite a few of it. Like I want to write, I want to send things to anyone who's in California. So I'm going to go and sort in A, and then it's sorting by, there's my California people. Boom, it's all of that. And I discover that not only do I have people from Santa Barbara, but I also have people from Goleta, right? But I see Goleta up there, Goleta up here, and Goleta there, Santa Barbara in 2 chunks. So and there's one more up there. So this is useful, but what if I want to have more information about that? Because if I look here at Santa Barbara, I can see that there's different area codes. And here in Santa Barbara, there's another area. So there's 3 Santa Barbaras, and there's 3 different area codes, or 4, because that Santa Barbara also has a different area code and stuff like that, or 5, right? So what if I want to sort by 2 sets of data or 3 sets of data? So we have to prioritize. If my goal is that I want to find everyone who lives in California, of the ones in California, everyone who lives in Santa Barbara, and of the ones who live in Santa Barbara, I want the ones who are in 93105, for example, then I can decide to do 3 sorts in a row, right? So the first one I'll do would be, for example, Santa Barbara. Let's go and sort by that, A to Z. You can do Z to A, by the way, and it's upside down alphabetical order, but whatever. So I first sorted Santa Barbara or city. the biggest one was California. So let's say I start with California. Sorry. So I go to state and I sort through California. I know that if I sort again, I'm going to lose all my data. So instead of choosing A to Z or whatever, I'm going to go to custom sort. Okay. So I'm going to click on custom sort. And in custom sort, now I can actually create some more levels of sorting. So my first sort I already did is by state. And when it says sort on the say values A to Z. So this is what we already did. Now I want to add a second level of sort. So I'm going to go add level. And then what I'm going to use here is city. So the first thing I cared about was state. Now I care about city, A to Z. And then inside of that, I'm going to add another level and I'm going to go ahead and have it organized by postal code, for example. So now, if that's my priorities and that's what I care about, I'm going to, oh, and by the way, notice that I didn't show you, but when there's words, the order would be A to Z. When there's a number, the default is only smallest to largest or largest to smallest, okay? As opposed to A to Z. And the computer knows that this is a number and that it needs to use a different sorting. So I'm going to say okay to that. So now if I pay attention to everything that's happening here, I'll notice that the first order of the day, so to say, is state. That was my first level of sorting. So yes, all my California has been put together, right? My second request was to have my cities and by alphabetical order. So I'm going to go ahead and select first, select all of California right there. Then the second choice was city. And since it's alphabetical order, it collected Goleta before Santa Barbara because it's alphabetically, Goleta goes first, then Santa Barbara. So then it put all my Goleta first, then all my Santa Barbara next, right? And then if I look at my postal code, it sorted everyone who's in Goleta, smallest to biggest, and we discover that in Goleta, everyone has the same area code, same postal code. But then within Santa Barbara, it put, well, it went 93105 first, then 93108, which is higher, 9310, and then 9311. So as much as it could, it gave me everything. So if I want to select only people who live in Santa Barbara, 93105, there we go. It was very quick to point them out instead of having to find different contiguous data. Does that make sense, you guys? Yeah, 931. What's the area code now? I don't know. This is obviously old data. I don't know. What's the area code for Goleta now? 93107.
117. Well, Karen said
Oh,
it's
I see. Goleta. Oh, you're right. 93117 and 93107. I hadn't even noticed that. I just default thought that it was all 107. You're
They
right.
changed that like 40 years ago.
Okay. Well, there you go.
uh,
So who
48,
knows?
20, 27.
That's why I was surprised when I saw this, that it says Mr., Mrs. and Ms. I'm like, who does that anymore? Whoever
Yeah.
gave this, whoever this sample file came from, it's bizarre. But anyway, never mind. I'm like, that makes sense. The fact that there's a column that says Mr. Ms. makes sense with that. That was changed years ago, right? Anyway, so, okay, so do you, now nothing is explained for me easily. I have to remember what my sorting was, right? And then I can follow it through and it makes sense then that's how I find my final subset of I only want people from 93105. Maybe I'm trying to get them to vote for something that I want. And of all my list, these people are the only ones that are in my voting precinct or whatever, because it matters what area code they're in my city, right? So now if I have, 200,000 people who live in Santa Barbara and I have all their names, I can sort it down to just the people who are in 93105, and then I can call them or send them, mail, vote for me and that kind of thing. Focus just on the people who are in my area. Just saying that. All right. Now you can use this for all kinds of information. Departments. I'm looking at the time and I want to show you a bit more. So let's do one more in this set of data, it's kind of hard to do any other than those three choices because there's no repetition of names. So we're not going to find much there other than alphabetical order. Maybe we want to find how many, let's sort by who's married and who's not. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go sort A to D. And then it's like Ms., Mr., Mr. and Mrs., I don't know, MS, Ms. So maybe, it's interesting because they have a Miss and then they have Mrs. and Mrs. Anyway, so it's interesting that I don't think I've seen that in forever. So then I want to see, okay, I want to get all of the single people, so Mr.'s or Mrs. who live in Santa Barbara, right? So then I'm going to go over here. I'm creating a singles event. So I want single people. So I look at my whole list, by the way, and I don't need to have anything selected in particular because here I'm going to choose it. So if I didn't even, last time I had already had us do a sort by state, say that we don't have any sorting at all. I go over here and I say custom sort. So I'm starting with, right now, there's nothing there. So I can go over here and I can choose, I want to, I guess I had sorted by title. So by title is Ms., Mr., Ms. And so I'm going to go A to Z. And then I'm going to add another level and I'm going to make sure that they are single, but that they live in Santa Barbara. So then I'm going to go A to Z. So I'm going to say, okay, right? So then I can select Mrs. and Misters right there, right? So that's them. But then of those, I want to choose who lives in Santa Barbara. And it would seem that it's not selected by alphabetical order, but it is because we only have two misses. So Goleta goes ahead, Santa Barbara goes next. So it is alphabetically ordered. And then of my Misters, Cambridge, ABC, DEFG, SW, right? So alphabetical order, it did organize the cities by alphabetical order as well within Mr. See that? And it did it within Miss. So Goleta and Santa Barbara, and then Cambridge, Santa Barbara, Stanford. That my priority would have been Mr. Miss. If my priority had been Santa Barbara City and then Mr. Ms., then I would have gotten my cities together. Okay. As I said, there's not much more data here that's searchable other than postal code and state and Mr. and Ms. because everything else here is individual. So this doesn't work so much, but at least that works. Now, it's still not very easy to be left with all my data, right? When I'm looking for stuff, it's not very easy. So what if I want to see only the result? I only want to see people who, let's go back to the voting example. I only want to see people who are in California, in Santa Barbara, in the 93105 area code. So instead of doing sorting, I would do filtering. It's a similar result, but with everything that doesn't apply to my request disappearing. So it's kind of easier to read the answer and to get, the subset of data that you want. So let's see how filtering works. I'm going to go over here to sort and filter. And underneath this, all the sorting, there's a line and there's the filter. So now I'm going to choose filter. Okay, so I'm going to turn on filtering. And the first thing that happened, what do you see happened? Look to all my column headers. Do you see that there's a little arrow now appeared
Drop
on all of
menu.
them? There's a little drop menu on all of them. So now I'm going to say, okay, I want to first select everyone that's in California. So I'm going to go to this little arrow. And now over here, my default setting is it's showing all of them. So I'm going to turn off select all. And I'm going to see only California. Okay, and if I go and unturn on each one, it's so just turn off select all. It's the easiest way. And then go back and reselect California. So now when I say okay, boom, everyone else has disappeared. I'm only seeing California results. Now I want to bring it to only Santa Barbara. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to, again, in this case, it's kind of easy to just turn off Goleta and I'm left with only Santa Barbara. So I don't want everyone in California. I just want Santa Barbara. So now I'm seeing California, Santa Barbara. And then of all those people, the only ones that work for me to send info is 93105. So I go to postal code and I get rid of that and I say, I only want to know who lives in 93105. I'll say, okay. Of course, if out of this, I wanted to reach out only to the single people, I don't find any single people here. That's right, because they're Mr. and Mrs., but there you go. So now, instead of having to see all my data amongst all of it and try to kind of separate it myself, there we go. These are the people that I need to write to, call, send post information, knock on their doors to convince them to vote for me, because I was able to isolate them from everything else. Does that make sense, you guys? The filtering, in the end, it's the same, you know, in a way. We've got the same result. We got these two people, it's like we had gotten before, but it's much easier. And then on top of that, you can just send this to someone who's been asking you. You're just like, hey, give me all the people who live in 93105. Boom. Now I can just send this file out, and all the rest of the, or I can just copy this information, create a new file and send it out. They don't need to know everyone else. Why would they? So all they need to know is this. So if I send them this file, they could unfilter it again and see everyone. But if all they need to see is this, then I can just copy this, only these two lines, and send them those two, and or create a new sheet that only has this information on it. And then that's the sheet that they have access to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, Andrew?
Is there like a master clear filters command that you can do?
Yes, there is. So if you want to clear only one at a time, then you can do that by, see that wherever I actually filtered, it has a little arrow. That means that I used that filter. Here I didn't use the filter, but here I did. So if I want to do one at a time, I could click on that little filter and then just clear that one filter,
Okay.
right? If I want to do one at a time. But if I want to get rid of all of them at the same time, then I'll go up here to the general filter and then just clear everything. Clear all.
Clear.
Okay. So
Yeah.
again, so say that I go over here and apply a filter just to find people who live now in, I don't know, New York. And I'll say, okay. And I'm down to 2. I guess there's less samples. If I want to clear that one, I go over here and this clears only that one column. Right? But when I made the other filters happen, which was again, clear everything and choose only California, and then choose only Santa Barbara, and then choose only postal code 93105, then I have 3 filters that have been enacted. So now if I want to get rid of them all, I would have to go and click 3 different filters. But if I'm wanting to undo them all, then I would have to undo them from over here. Now, let me just wait one more thing. You can also subsort. This is such a small set of data that it's hard to then subsort in here, but I could then on top of that say, well, I want these people sorted by last name, right? So say that I'm seeing Patterson and Kilson, and this is not sorted by alphabetical order. So I can still click in here and either do a sort over there, or I could go over here and not just filter, but I could also sort this from A to Z. So I have my answers. I not only have, you know, only the people who live in Santa Barbara, but then I can assign from A to M, this person calls them, and from M to Z, this other person calls them, right? Now, in this case, since all we have is 2 people, it doesn't make sense. But if you have a bigger set of data, does that make sense, you guys? You can subsort. And now if I look at my, let me go this bigger so you can see this bigger. So when you have no filter, you just have an arrow. When you have a filter, you see the little funnel. And when you have a sort, you see that little arrow right there, which is a sort. And that's because it's alphabetical order, A to Z. If I were to have done Z to A, then the arrow points down. You see that? So now it's up and down, but that's it's a sort A to Z or Z to A, the data based on last name. So those little tiny things there tell me this has been filtered, this has been sorted, this has been filtered. Okay. All right. Now I'm looking at how much time I have left to see how many other examples we do with this. The CF practice file, let me look and see the data that has. It's also numbers, which doesn't work as well. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna get rid of all of that all at once. I'm gonna head over here and I'm going to clear the filters, but see how it says reapply? I'm gonna clear all my filters, right? But if I go up there to reapply, there's nothing because when I clear them like that, there's no memory. You can only do the reapply one by one, right? Not to everything. When you cleared everything, you've cleared the sorting, the filtering, everything. Because see, it's not even sorted by last name anymore. You completely get rid of everything. Most of the times, it's rare that we want to get rid of everything unless we are done and we need to start from zero again. Usually you might change one set or another set of data, okay? All right, so the other file that we had opened here, let me see, on this one, it's a little bit harder to sort, other than alphabetical order. So A to Z, Z to A, there's nothing else, but there's larger to smallest, right? So maybe what I want to do is I want to find out already, is this alphabetical order, you guys? No, right? How is this sorted? This one here has a sorting factor. How is this table sorted? It already is sorted one way or another. Can you tell?
Chronologically?
No, that's the columns.
Largest revenue to smallest.
Yep.
Or whatever the
So,
numbers are.
yeah, so if you go to the total, the person who made the most or spent the most, I'm assuming it's made the most, down to, I don't know, and then down to who made the least amount of money. Okay, so it's revenue by total, right? Revenue by total. Because maybe on individual months, that person is not the one who made the most money. Maybe if I look over here, Jeremy, it looks like in January, it made quite a bit more than Alexander, but at total, Alexander beat Jeremy, right? So it's total, it's sorted by total. So let's go ahead and say, well, I want to see who did best in June. So I'm going to click over here in the June column, and I'm going to go over to my sorting, and the only choices, since it's numbers instead of A to Z, is largest to smallest. So I'm going to go again, largest to smallest in June, or highest to lowest. And there we go. The person who made the most money in June was Duncan Marshall. Okay. And then as I go down, so if I look over here, Duncan Marshall totaled out at 50,000. So this is now not sorted. Does that make sense? It's harder though, when you have very individual numbers, to go any further than this on the sorting, because if you filter out all the people who made more or less than 98, then you're left with nothing but this one. So there's some other way of dealing with data if you want to look at numbers that I'm going to teach you. But this helps. I can sort them again by alphabetical order, right? And so I can say alphabetical order, A to Z, and then it gives me the typical kind of sorting. Or I can say, well, first give me all the people who made the biggest. So if I want to go here and do another kind of custom sorting here, I might want to go top to bottom. I'll say, okay, so I want to know all the people who made made the most money in January. So I'm going to go largest to smallest for January. And then I'm going to say, give me another one for, February, and then find out who made most of the money in February, and so on and so forth. I can keep doing that. I'm going to just do it with 2 and okay. And then I can have a sort over here with, we started with January, then going with February, and so on and so forth. But again, it's kind of messy. That doesn't really help me. So how do I handle finding out from here information instead of filtering? So I'm going to go ahead and let's just do a basic filter by last name. That way not filter, sort by last name. That way that's our starting point. Like we have no idea who made the most. All we want to know is a typical list of people A to Z by alphabetical order. So I put my mouse on any piece of data in column A, and now everything sorts. By the way, you are aware that everything is sorting with it, right? Just to be clear, it's not like if I move, I'm going to give all this a color. Just to be clear, sometimes I don't clarify this, and for some, I think you guys got it, but just to be clear, say that this is one person. When I sort to find out who, who made the most money in April, it's going to move. And where did that person go? They're down here, but all of that data moved with them. Okay. So it's an entire row. So that's one thing that people, we haven't really created our own data yet, but I wanted to clarify because this is the biggest mistake people can make, is if you put data for one person in two different columns or two different rows, and columns, yes, but in two different rows. This is considered a record, and all the information that belongs to Channing Conrad is going to be on that row, and that's it. You're not going to have Channing Conrad information anywhere else, and that sticks with that person. One thing you should never do is select a column, for example, and try to sort the entire column. It'll warn you though, but say that you want to sort through by column, smallest to largest. Well, there you go, trying to show me I'm wrong. Let me until subselect, let me undo that, and subselect like a piece. God, I'm on a Mac PC. So I'm going to subselect this and say, sort and filter this piece, right? So if I say a smallest to largest, largest to smallest. Okay. It just doesn't let you make a mistake anymore. That's good. Before it would ask you, because before if you did this, it would say, when you tried to do this, it would say, wait, there's other data all around you that if you make this sort happen, you're going to disconnect it from the rest of the data. You know what I mean? Because if you truly sorted from here to here into largest to smallest, or smallest to largest, or whatever it might be, if you just did that, all of this data would be messed up, because then over here, you'd have the biggest number and the smallest number, but then it wouldn't correspond to the same person anymore. So since the beginning of time, every time you try to sort a subsection, Excel warns you that you're about to mess things up. But now it just doesn't even bother to do the wrong thing. In order to sort this, it sorted everything. So there you go. Again, Excel gets more and more intelligent. So I don't have the warning anymore. For a year, all you get is a warning. Hey, you're about to do something wrong, and it expand the field of data, and you would say, okay. And then it would not do the mistake, but you had the choice of making the mistake. Now you don't have the choice of making the mistake anymore. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so you can sort the data. All right. So now let's do this in a way that's much easier. Much easier. I'm going to go ahead. Let me go down to show you something. I don't even need to see all the data. If I want to select everything from here to here, I would have to click and drag across everything, which when you're seeing it zoomed in, that is very hard to do, right? Because if you're looking at the numbers in here, you would click in there and you'd have to drag down and right? So the easiest way to do this is to just select, because I don't want everything. Oh my God, this is so slow, VDI. If I don't want to select the names, and I don't want to select the totals. I just want to select my data. So say if that's what I want to do, then the easiest thing is to click on the A1, hold down Shift, and click on the last one there. And so everything in between gets selected, right? If what I'm trying to do is only this data. All right, so there's other ways, but that seems to be, and then I go to the zoom and I just kind of zoom back to some normal amount right there. So I'm going to teach you about conditional formatting. conditional formatting is a much easier way to do kind of like what you've been doing, which is who made the most money or who made the least money or who, you know, this, who that. But it's a choice that's going to happen through colors. So I'm going to go to the data. I left the totals out. Whoops. I left the totals out and I left the people out right now. I just selected the main field of data. And I'm going to head over to conditional formatting. And I'm going to go ahead. There's so many different choices. I'm going to go with some of the ones that are in existence and then we can make our own. I'm going to go to highlight cell rules and I'm going to say, I want to highlight anything that is greater than, right? So I'm going to click on greater than. And the question is going to be greater than what, right? And so here I must have had, oh, the first A1 is that. So it's putting that number and I'll go, no, I want to see only the people who made more than, who at some point sold more than $8,000. So I'm going to write 8,000 in there. So those are my top sellers or people who sold more than $8,000. And then it tells me red light filled with dark red text. If I don't change that, that's a good default. I'll say, okay. So now when I look at my data, I can quickly see, sorry, it's so much, this jumps so much in my VDI that it kind of goes click, click, click. So now I can see immediately that these are the highest selling, you know, anyone who's read, say I'm trying to figure out who to give a bonus to, I might go, anyone who sold more than $8,000 at least one of the months is going to get a bonus, right? So now let me undo that. Command Z. And then let's say instead, oh God, I'm going to do this from, you know what, I'm going to do this from the Mac because this jumps around so much and there's no difference in the Mac or in the PC on this one. Hold on, because this is driving me crazy. So let me go to this one. It's not going to jump so much and it's going to be much easier. So now let's head over here to the totals, for example. So if I select all my totals, so I'm going to scroll from the top. I just select the first one, hold down shift and select the bottom, right? So now I'm going to say how many, you know, how many of these, let me go to conditional formatting. I'm back in home. So I'm going to go to conditional formatting and tell me again, who made more than, and I want to, anyone who made above, and see, it looks a little bit different here. New formatting rule, cell value is greater than 70,000. 70,000. It's going to be red. Say okay. And these 5 people now, since we already had it sorted by total, it's not a surprise. But what if we had it sorted by alphabetical order, which I think you guys had sorted by alphabetical order. I just hadn't done it on the PC. So now I can go back there and I can go, oh, look at that. These are, it's quickly, very easy for me to see who has to get the bonus this year. Then I want to see maybe the other way around. I want to select that same data. And I'm going to now say who sold less than, let me see what these numbers are. So who sold less than, I don't know, what are the low numbers now? I don't know. Who sold less than 40,000? And now I'm going to change. I'm not going to have the same highlight. I'm going to click and they have certain set things. So I'm going to go with yellow. I'm going to say, okay. And now when I look, I'm like, oh, I guess no one sold less than 40,000. All right. So that's good. No one's being fired today. Because if you sold under 40,000, you would have been fired. Yay. Okay. So let me amend that. Let me go back to that one and let me change that to who sold less than 50,000. Yellow. And I say, okay. All right, good. So now I'm like, whoops, these are the people who are in kind of in trouble, right? Because Yeah. And so how do I know who these people are? Right? So remember how we did the freeze, we did so many different options, but the easiest one at this point split. But let's see that would go to A1, and I'm gonna go in here and freeze. I'm gonna view and do the freeze both top and bottom, right? With this one. And now I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna go, ooh, looks like we're gonna have to get rid of Dorothy and Phelan and whatever. These guys are on probation and these get a bonus. Does that make sense, you guys? So now we're using different, that's conditional formatting. It just gives me color to the stuff that matters. You can choose your ranges. You can find who is in the middle. You can choose so many kind of conditional formattings. Let's set
Teacher,
this. Yeah.
sorry, quick question. I got the first rule, but after the first one, I want to apply the second rule, but I can do it.
Okay, so you select the same amount of data, right? So it's all the totals from top to bottom, right? And so then go to the conditional formatting, and I went to the exact same thing, but it was a lesser than. The top one was
Okay.
greater than, and this was lesser than. So less than, and I chose less than 50,000. Now, sometimes you could actually click on this little, let me just show you what I'm doing. Instead of saying the number 50,000, I can click on that little icon that appears over there, and I can go choose less than, and I can choose something like 48. And then that number appears in there. And then that would be less than whatever that is, less than 4890 something, right? So then I couldn't hit return. And now the number is anything that is less than 48,000, right? So that's another way. But right now, I'm just gonna rather just say 50,000. Okay, so that's my rule. And
Okay.
the important thing is I can't leave it in red or I will not distinguish it from the other people. So I'm gonna choose the second default choice. And then I'll say, okay. Did it work now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, now leave that selected since we have it selected, and let's go see other kind of rules that we can do to that. Instead of greater than, less than, how about if I don't set numbers? Because maybe I never told them how much they had to make. Maybe what I told them is that the top percent, that, by the way, let's clear all that. Let's clear those rules. Let me just clear rules from the selected cells. Okay. And now let's make a new one that is, okay, what's the top 10%? Like, who are the top 10% sales people in my workforce? Boom. So those will be in red. Oh, that's the top 10%. And then with that same data, I'll go, who are my bottom 10%? And I'll go make those be yellow, for example. And those are my yellow top bottom percent. So now it's not about a number, and it's more like a graded curve situation, right? Where I'm choosing who are my top 10, get a bonus, my top bottom 10. And this shows you what a great boss I would be. You are on warning here. You have one chance left to make more than 60,000, whatever, right? And then these people, it's like, yay, you get a vacation in the Caribbean. Who knows what it is that I do to them. But anyway, so that's an example. Now, you can do that to a lot of, this is one line and it works, but you can do it for a ton of data, but there's a ton of different choices that you can be here that are really cool. So let me select the entire internal set of the data field. So it's from January first row to December last row. So now that's what I'm going to be comparing. Okay. And so let's go to conditional formatting, and let's say that what matters to me is an average. So who's above average, who's below average, for example, right? So what of these numbers are above average? And let's choose a different set of colors. So for example, green filled with dark text, I'll say, okay. And the computer's calculating the averages, we don't need to know. And it goes, all those numbers are above average. By default, obviously below average would be, anything that has not been colored. So I'm going to go with yellow, right? So then those are the below averages and this is the top averages, right? So you can do that. You can do 3 or 4 numbers that are in between this and that kind of thing. I'm going to undo the last 2 because I'm going to show you something else cool where instead of colors, you can use little icons or sets or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have, instead of all of these top bottom rules and all that that's there, by the way, we can create some of our own, but I can go over here and I'm going to choose icon sets, for example, and I'm going to say, give me 3 arrows. This is the basic one. I'm going to do like that. So when I look at it now, basically what it's doing, it went by an average and it went, the top ones are the greens, the bottom ones are the reds, and the in between is the yellow. See that? So it's just a more graphic way to show the data.
How'd you do that one more time?
Yep. So I'm going to undo what I just did. I'm going to select my data and I'm going to go over here. And now I'm going down and I cleared the other stuff just because it's too much to have 20 colors and these. But anyway, and I went to icon sets and I chose this one right there, which is the only, there's 2 options. Good, in between, bottom, right? Boom. Click on that. And then I can, at a glance, I can see. Now there's so much data here. This might not be so obviously at a glance. But there you go. Now it's showing me that this is a below average number. This is a above average number, right? For it compared all the data. Something I would not be able to at a glance look at all this and see. This is helping me. Now I'm going to undo that.
Taken from the rule that you
I
set?
didn't have all my data. What's up?
That was taken from the rule that you set?
No, that's not a rule that I set. This has no rule. I cleared all my rule. This is just it calculating. If I divide it into 3, then it's probably top third, middle third, bottom third. I don't know. It's just kind of trending up, trending down. You can go ahead and use, little data bars sets or here little 5 ratings would be up, down, in between. So it probably divides it in averages between 5. I can go over here to all of these little guys and it's kind of complicated, but there you go. You can see little biggers or smaller. This that I'm showing you right now is probably for when you have much less data, because this would really drive anyone crazy, right? But there's other ways you can do that. So you can go to color scales and you can say, okay, color everything green, yellow, and red color scale. And so by doing that, now you can clearly see greens are the high numbers, yellows are the mid ones, and reds are the bad ones, 600s, okay, orange. So it has like a whole warning sign. All right. And then so that's just choices. Now, all of these, I'm going to clear that again. Otherwise, it's hard to add some new ones. And then data bars over here, it would give me only, let me just go with a solid fill for data bars, and I'm going to go to that one. So now it's showing me these are the high ones, middle, and low, right? So when I showed you charts, there's so many types of charts you can do. You can choose one that helps you analyze things better. And it's kind of like a combination of chart and table all in one, right? Where the fullest ones in color are clearly the highest numbers, and the ones that are very tiny bit of red are the low numbers or something like that. Try them all, see which one helps you. When you have this much data, I think the easiest would be, really simple, like colors or something like that. Or some of these little, flags. Okay, careful, flagging red, and then you look at all your red flags and you go, that's bad, or stuff like that. Anyway, I keep clearing them all. What if we want to make our own rule, right? So let's make our own rule for this one. New rule. And maybe what we want to do is a 2 color scale. Let's go with that one. And we'll so that we want to know what is our lowest value and what is our highest value. And somehow these colors, maybe I don't like them, so I'll go with, I want my lowest value to be red because, you know, really bad, and my highest value to be green. There you go. And say, okay. And so now it's got a color scale where I guess those colors were way too bright because my eyes are having a problem seeing this, but I can quickly see what data is the good stuff is the green and the really bad stuff is the red. So am I being too obvious here? The devil is red. Anyway, so
It's Christmas.
it's Christmas. Yeah, that's true. I'm being festive. It's the other way around. I'm being festive. Anyway, so as you can see, this is really useful. Now, when you have more than one set of formatting going on, you can also create more complicated. So over here, let me go to highlight cell rooms. Again, let's go to the top one. And over here, let's give it more rules over there. Like, click on that. And now I want to do, for example, and it tells me different class. So let's just go with classic, which is this. This is classic, right? So format only the top or bottom rank values, or only values that are above or below, or only unique or duplicate values. So this is a really good way to see if you have any duplicate values when you're actually don't want, in this case, who cares if there's duplicates, but sometimes you want to see, do I have duplicate values? I do that all the time when I want to see if I have the same student twice. I'll select my entire file of names and I'll go format only the duplicate ones, and then I'll go and I'll have anything that's pink is duplicate names, and I can get rid of that, right? So I use the duplicate one all the time. So let's say that format only cells that contain cell value that is, and then maybe I would go equal. So between, it's got to be between 70,000 and 80,000. So I'm going to click in here, 70,000. Oh, wait, I've got the small data here. So let's actually, this isn't the big numbers that I've selected. So let's actually say that anything that's between 8,000 and 10,000. Right? I think those were the top biggest ones. And I can choose these colors, or I can do a custom format. But let's say, for example, let's choose red border. I haven't used red border yet, right? So it's pretty, it'll be harder to tell, but I only want to do red border. Or if I go to custom format, then I can choose, right? So what I want to do with them is to give it a fill that's, any color that's not been used yet. So I want to, these are the top seller. Let's give it this color of green, or maybe give it a little pattern, or, you can have a lot of fun stuff here, little dots. Yeah, so that's going to be my people who made the most. So I'm going to say, okay, oh, that font is going to be hard to read. So let me actually change that. And my font might need to be bold, otherwise it won't read well. Anyway, I'm going to say, okay, that might be a bit better. Probably should have chosen a lighter one, but there you go. So now I've created my own thing, and these are the people who made between $8,000 and $10,000, right? So depending on what you're trying to do or look or find, this would be other ways to compare. And then you can just compare month to month and things like that. If you have many rules in this whole set of data, you can go over here. Oh, I have to select all my data between here and now here, all the way to the end, all my data, no matter what, I've got quite a few rules in here. So if I want to go over here and manage them, right? I have the cell values between 800 and 10,000, the bottom 10% and the top 10%. So it's showing me all of them. And I might want to say, oh, well, get rid of this one. I don't care about the top 10%, or I don't care about the bottom 10%. I'm going to say I don't want to care about the bottom 10%. I can just go over here and get rid of that rule, plus or minus. Now I don't have that rule anymore. Now I cancel it. Boom. So my yellow bottom 10% disappeared, right? So that's the manage rules over here. Or I can make a new rule over here. I'll say meta new rule plus, and then again, I can choose what this new rule is, and I'll say, okay, and then I've got this new one here, and I'll say, okay, and now suddenly everything is colored, right? Clearly, since these are higher numbers than that, because I had everything selected, then everything here is bad and everything here is good, because that last one was selecting both sets of data, right? Which obviously don't correlate. But anyway, so that's conditional formatting, which is ridiculously useful when you want to get general idea. Oops, I just did some hiding with a shortcut. Now, the last quick thing that I want to show you here, I'm going to select the totals only. The totals only. Let me eliminate. I'm going to clear the rules from all of these cells. And let me show you another way. And I believe it's under view data. Oh, where is it? Is it under insert? Sparklines. Here we go. So it's under insert sparklines. So this is a little bit like what we just did ish. I'm going to give it either lines or columns or win and loss. Let me give it lines. And I already selected the data. So, and where am I going to place the spark lines? I'm going to place the spark lines over here. And let me just show it to you and then I'll explain it again. So I want the spark lines from here to here. I'll say, okay. Oh, it didn't work. So then maybe, let me undo that. Maybe I need to just select that and tell it to put the spark line. Let me go back to insert the spark lines. A data range. I did. Select, oh, because they need to compare to each other. Because it's not growing. It has to be more, so it has to be more data probably. Let me see. Let me see if I can do it with this data, which is crazy because it's so much. Usually you compare two things, but let me try. Let me give it a line and let's see if I can select data from here to here. I know that class is over as of this minute, but I don't think I've ever inserted. Oh no, I didn't need that. I do that, but I need it to be in the O. Sorry, it's the O, not the N. Okay, let's see if that works. And I say go. Okay. Yeah, it worked. So now it's this data is so much that this doesn't mean much. But yeah. Usually it works if you're comparing smaller amounts, but now what it's doing is for Bruce, right? It's looking at all of the months and each one of these, it's like a little mini chart. And we can see that he started slow. Let me go, make it bigger. And so he started kind of middling, and then he got much better. And then he went down again. So this is like a little mini chart of just what Alexander Bruce did. See that? So it's like a little mini chart. Or
that's cool.
This,
and it was called Create Sparkliness.
What's that?
Or you named it. I said that's cool, but was it called Create Sparkliness or did you
Create
call
spark lines? No, it is. Yeah, it sounds like so. I selected the data. Yeah. So I'm going to go and select my data again. So you select your data, which is all the internal stuff, right? And then you go to insert spark lines.
Okay, I thought it said sparkliness.
And there's 3 types of spark lines. So maybe I'll do that. The next one is, so when a lot, I'm going to go a column for the next, I'm going to do another one. And it goes, where do you want to put the spark lines? So the second type, I'm gonna have it put it in here in P, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and select column P from here to here. It's so big that I don't have it out of the top of my head what the numbers are. So there it is. So, and I'm gonna say, okay. And now, you know, again, that's kind of, it's showing me, if you want a different way of showing me that same thing, right? So good
So you
months and
went
less
to,
ones.
you selected all the data, and then you.
Then
sorry,
go
I know
to
classes.
insert, yeah. So let me compare only
Insert.
December and November, because it's a bit easier. So I'm gonna compare just December and November. Okay, so I'm gonna compare just December and November, top to bottom. Insert spark lines. And so I choose
Insert.
one kind. Let me go with win and loss right now. I don't know. Win and loss. Well, there's no loss here, so that won't work. So let me go back to spark line between these two. So then it says, okay, select the data, which I did. Where do you want to place the spark lines? And so that's where I was making my selection of this column. So I'm going to go with Q. I'm going to go with Q. So I came over here and I want it placed from here to, and I mean, I could have written this, but I'm just choosing to go all the way down, right? To slope to there. So that
Got it.
is going to be the result of the comparison of these two in the form of lines. So
Deanna,
I did it.
it's showing me that this is trending up or trending down, November and December, okay, trending up, trending down. Now, what
Get it.
I wonder, hold on, because one thing I've never done is, can I look at this, which is only comparing two? I'm curious, so I'm testing. Could I then say, does the sort recognize this as higher and this going up and this going low? I don't know. So I'm just going to see if I say sort A to Z, and this is the data that I'm choosing. No, I'm just curious. I'm like, can it figure out that this means downwards trending and upwards trending, but it can't. Yes. By the way, it's 8:34. So if you need leave, I'm answering questions. I'm done teaching new things, but yes. What's that, Andrew?
I keep getting an error message where I want to put it when I want to put it somewhere.
Is it empty, what you're choosing?
Yeah,
Okay.
it can't. Yeah.
I'm gonna let me stop and share. But anyway, so this is kind of cool. I think it's a bit too much data to make too much sense, but not really. I mean, it helps, but sometimes when you have smaller bits of data, this could be useful. Of course, this wouldn't work for, you know, the address. But if you open the files that we did the other day that were just, you know, 4 or 5 page columns and lines, you can do this and you can begin to see how useful it is individually, right? So let me stop my share, save that. Guys, I haven't told you to do this, but can you please do screenshots of all of this conditional formatting and then some filtering, right? So go back and turn on some filtering and do some stuff there, because we haven't done anything to post of today's work, right? So I'm going to do spark lines. I'm going to go back to the other one and do what was the other one that we had? Long addresses, and let's do some filtering and stuff like that. So yeah, I forgot to tell you guys to do screenshots. So I'm sorry about that, but if you can do some of that, that would be really helpful. So I'm going, it's kind of hard to do. Oh, I'm not sharing. It's kind of hard to do screenshots of things that are sorted, because how can you tell? But it is easy to do. I'm going to sort by, you know, state, for example, because that is pretty clear, that the before and after, right? So first you would do the state. You can do this kind of sorting. You can do that screenshot, and then if I clear that filter, you can see with no filter that you're seeing everything in that kind of. So just do a couple different screenshots just to see that. Okay. Sorry, I forgot to have you guys do that. So if you can kind of recreate some of the different things that we've been doing, and then freezing, you know, so like if I click clear over here in this data, if and I want to freeze this frame over there, I completely forgot to tell you guys to be doing, so I'm gonna freeze that. Freeze those panes and then do like this, and then you can see that we're actually doing the freeze pane situation and stuff like that. Okay. Those three kind of shots might be good enough. Okay, so did you want to share something then?
My
Who was
screen?
it? Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
let me give you guys the Padlet code for Excel. Right there, so you can go post. All right. Oh, yay, Karen, I like it when you find something new, because I have a feeling that today it would probably, some of what I did today you would know, but yeah, I found something new. All right, you're not sharing anything, so are you sharing, Andrew?
Me?
or-
Oh,
Didn't you ask a question?
yeah.
Yeah. I had, so, yeah, you said it wasn't working, so, I was talking to Karen while you were waiting. Okay, so, location range, go ahead and say cancel for a second so I can see from the beginning what you're doing. Cancel. Okay, so,
Okay, let's just say I just choose this data right
okay,
here.
got it. If that's what you want to compare, okay, go up to the
Right.
spark lines. Yeah, choose the kind. Okay, and then here you have to put in the range. So go and select one column, like one from wherever you want. Select the same amount of rows. Yeah, one down. No, don't click the whole column. You need to select the exact place you want it. So click there right now where you are,
Drag it.
and down, drag down. Drag down now all the way to one more, two more, down, up, there. There you go. Let go. of
Oh,
your
I was
mouse.
going, okay.
Yeah, and now hit return or say, okay, enter, and there is
Oh,
that data. Now, the
okay,
only
I was
problem
going all the way
is,
across. What?
yeah, because the result is gonna be in one column, right? It's one set of column. Of course, since we don't see the data you chose because it wasn't highlighted in any way, it's
Right.
hard to now relate to them. But click on one of them instead of on all of them. Just click on the top one. No. Click away to get rid of the selection. Click away, and now go click on the first one.
This one?
Yeah. And no, I thought it might just select that data, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
If you double click on it, try again. Try to double click on it to see if maybe it shows you. No, it doesn't. Okay, so then hit escape. Yeah, you need to have a clear view of what it is that you're choosing for this to make sense. But all right,
It's okay.
but it's comparison. See, that's why we couldn't choose the totals, right? Because it doesn't compare that, it just compares trends, right? So it's more like what a chart would do. So it's like the totals would be like the pie chart kind of situation, which this doesn't do. But on the other columns that are many, then it can do trends, like it's going up, it's going down, or whatever it's doing, right? So that's cool.
Okay.
Great.
All
So,
right. Will
guys-
you write down the assignments that you wanted us to do for homework? Will you like, okay, we're doing sort
well,
and filter, we're
basically
doing
what I just did
additional
here.
formatting?
Let me actually share this Firefox, and let me go to the Excel summer, and I'll just do it, right? So basically I just did screenshots of 3 different things, and it really isn't everything we did, but I just kind of went and recreated. So one of the first things that I did, I'm going to go to plus, and Diana, and this one was spark lines. Let's just say insert spark lines. So that's the last one we did. So let me go ahead here and see. Am I sharing? Yeah. So which one of these shows my spark lines? This one. And usually I write how to get to it and stuff like that. But anyway, here's that one. So show me an example of spark lines, and more than spark lines and conditional formatting. Because the spark lines are cool, but the thing that main thing I taught you here is about conditional formatting. And so here I'm showing you both, right? The conditional formatting where it's choosing the top between 8 and 10,000. And I'm also showing you the spark lines. So I'm going to publish that one. Right. So show me some conditional format. Oh, here we go. So Sal already put also some conditional formatting right there. So that's good. Karen did some of that. She's not writing it, but it is conditional formatting and spark line. So that's one of them. Then here she's got some filtering, and Andrew, you put in those 3 vertical spaces, which I didn't even screenshot that. So yeah, that kind of works. So let me go and put another one in here showing some filtering.
Okay.
Filtering by state, I think is the one that I did here. Let me find the screenshot of filtering by state, and I believe it was this one. Right, and so I did that, and I don't know which other ones did I say. Conditional formatting, filtering by state. I like this one of the, or arranging your. Oh, I think I got the wrong. I put in the wrong one, the one where it's not filtered. So this is not filtered, and this is how you would filter it. So this is V4 filtering by state, right? And then the other one would be when we get the only after filtering by state. Publish.
You know what, Deanna?
Yeah.
I selected all the data and then I did a formatting rule. I did bold. I wanted to bold the ones over
Yeah,
8,000.
Yeah,
And everything turned out bold, and but I was working really fast,
do
so
a Command Z to undo,
yeah.
okay? All
Yeah,
right.
no, I know. I mean, this was a while ago, so
Oh, when it's a while ago, the Command Z doesn't work anymore. So you basically have to select all the data and unbold it, which is basically go turn the B off again. So yeah, the moment something happens, it's really easy to fix because Command Z, but once you let, half an hour go by, you've done so many other things that you can't really undo yourself back, or you get rid of everything.
right.
Yeah.
But when it lets you choose the format, I did bold, and for some reason, everything
I'm
got
not sure that
bolded.
this worked, Sal. It's the spark lines, but I'm seeing a screenshot of, it's one.
It's too
Sorry.
small, but it's
Yeah.
interesting because it's
I see
the
the little
totals.
ones.
It's the only the spark line of the total, and it's interesting, but it's too small
Oh,
to
I see that.
for
So
the
you
picture.
chose
Yeah,
that and you give it, okay.
that's the reason that I put another one
because
with
you
the
have the
only
to-
spark line. Yes.
Yeah, you have, I didn't mean to, yeah, you have the,
Yeah, I
you
have to put another example, but
yeah,
this
so
one is
you did
very
this
useful.
total down here that we had
Yes,
at
at
the
the end.
bottom. You did a
Yes,
spark line at the end.
Mhm.
Yeah, I ended up taking that one off, but that's a spark line for the
but it's
total.
too
Yeah, that's
small.
cool. Yeah, no, but the idea is that this is supposed to show you trends. It's not the same as a chart, right? It's just a little mini indication of what's happening. So again, it's kind of like the conditional formatting. It just helps you see things at a glance without doing a whole chart, right? So, okay, guys, I'll see you all on Thursday for Excel 3, day 1. Okay,
Yeah,
have a good one.
we'll see if I'm drowning or not.
Well,
Bye.
just sit through it and you
Yeah.
can then review it. I don't take the recordings off at the very least until the class starts again in fall. And since I'm not teaching this in the fall, they can stay there for a while. So
Are we current with all the classes? Because I like going over them. I
yeah. Recordings
okay,
are
the
all
more
there.
all right. All right.
Yeah.
All
You go
right.
over here to my classes and you go over here. This is, so today I'm gonna end up putting this one over by tomorrow, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Sal.